Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Table
As
Talk
he
Thursday,
dies over there.
episode 75. I'm your host, Piper_1, and with my old original co-host, who's always been here, never really left, but now he's here in person.
Yes.
He's real.
I am
Again.
real.
He's back to being a real boy in real life.
Yeah.
So yes, welcome him back, and
Woo.
there you go.
Yes.
Can I have more sauces?
Yeah.
I'm missing some sauces. I need my Polynesian and my Chick-fil-A. We went and got a 30-count nuggets. Chick-fil-A. Give me that other one too. All right, all the sauce. Okay, cool.
All the sauce. Yes.
All of the sauce. The sauce is boss. All right, so yes, welcome back. Well, not welcome back, but welcome to Dallas, Kenneth.
Yes. I've been passing.
How do you like it up here?
It's all right. I mean, I like where I am. Convenient locations for everything that I need.
You didn't give me any real feedback on those houses, by the way. You were like, I liked the last one. That's it. That's all you said.
I thought location could have been better for some of them.
The best ones are the ones in Grand Prairie, honestly. Like, good price. There's one with a pool. One with the pool is cool.
Yeah, but pools are money sinks.
I know, but they're still cool.
Yeah, but I mean, you get a crack in the pool foundation or something, and then you have to pay a shit ton of money to repair it.
No, just leave it alone.
I mean, I guess you
So
could.
that's what my mom does.
Well,
All you have to do is replaster it. Like you just, if you see cracks and plaster over them, yes. Also, if there's a tree nearby, and you notice the crack keeps getting bigger because it's a tree, then you just kill the tree.
just drive a copper nail in it.
Copper fucking nail.
Anyways, yes, folks, I'm live here in Dallas. And to start us off in the world news, we're going back to England. Talking about the Russian poisoning that we covered last week.
And pretty much almost every week.
Yeah, we've been covering it a lot because it's a continuing story. Where we talked about how the UK has put out that they have their suspects. And that, there's a global warrant out for them, essentially.
And Interpol warrant.
And Interpol, yes. And continuing the update we have, so Russia Today, which is Russia's state-owned broadcaster.
Everything in Russia is Russia's state-owned broadcaster, to
Correct.
be honest.
Found,
One of many.
quote-unquote, found these guys and interviewed them.
Oh, of course they did.
Of course. Yep. So the men named Alexander Petrov and Ruslan Bolsharov told the state-run RT channel that they traveled to Salisbury on the recommendation of friends. Sounds like your cat's getting into some food stuffs up there.
That's fine.
Traveled to Salisbury on the recommendation of friends. The UK believes the men are Russian military intelligence officers who tried to kill Russian ex-spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yula in Salisbury last March. Is a quote, "The lies and blatant fabrications in the interview given to Russia state-sponsored TV stations are an insult to the public intelligence," says Prime Minister Theresa May's spokesperson. Appearing nervous and uncomfortable, the men confirmed their names as those announced by the UK investigators. And they said those are real names. Like I said, RT is Russia's state-run international broadcaster. And the pair were interviewed by its chief editor, Margarita Simonia. She said their passports match the photos and the information from the British side shows these people. I love the quote. Our friends had been suggesting for a long time that we visit this wonderful town, said Mr. Petrov. Mm-hmm. Yes, take the hour-and-a-half trip to visit Salisbury for an hour and a half, and take another hour-and-a-half trip back to London. Because that's what you do when you're take a day to go visit someplace. Like, yeah, I got a feel for this place. I don't got to spend an hour here. I'm good.
Well, I'm gonna do when I go to Japan. No, all these places suck. Akihabara, baby.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not going to spend 2 hours at Akihabara. You're going to spend, most of your trip there. But these people went...
Speaking of when are we going? Are we going to do a live stream from Japan?
I have no idea anymore. I got to see where my money situation is.
Your money situation should be fine. You have extra money.
Well, not yet.
When are you getting that?
I mean, when I start.
No, I mean, when do you get the moving money?
I already got it. It's already gone.
You spent all of that quick?
Well, some of it went to paying back myself for the money I had to spend for, rent and then deposit and then prorated and then,
Yeah, but you still have another paycheck coming from the school, too.
Yeah, which I just got that. So that's there now.
Yeah, which you already had just gotten paid when you left the school.
Yeah.
Which you paid the rent with, technically.
Well,
long story short, you have the money.
I have money, sure.
You have enough for the trip.
I just have to justify it to myself. I'm having
It's going out of the country for the first time in your life.
I don't even have a passport. I need to get one.
If you buy tickets and then you tell them, hey, we have these tickets, they'll expedite it.
I don't know if they will. From what I've heard,
it's on their website. It's literally on their website to expedite. If you're leaving within a few weeks or something, you can get it.
I suppose, whatever. Anyways, so
I quadruple checked into this. I'm very serious about going to Japan this year.
Okay. Yeah, they said they only stayed an hour in Salisbury on Saturday, March 3rd, because of the snowy weather conditions, but returned on Sunday to visit the sites. The two men admitted that they may have passed Mr. Cipriel's house by chance, but we don't know where it is located, Mr. Petrov said. The BBC's Sarah Rainford in Moscow described the interview as carefully choreographed and bizarre, pointing out that in tone and in content, it matched the whole Russian response to the case. Flat denial with mockery. It says right here, so the amount of detail put out by the British police last week and the direct accusations that the men were officers in Russian military intelligence was something that the Kremlin will not want to have go unchallenged. And the Russian government will hope that this interview will generate sympathy at home for what is said to be a pair of sports nutrition salesmen who wanted to see a beautiful English cathedral with its 123-meter spire, but who instead found themselves being accused of being assassins. I love that all the news articles talking about this are like, oh yes, they totally went there to visit this beautiful cathedral with its 123-meter spire. Like, specifically 123 meters. Every news agency is like, oh yeah, they went there to see this particular church with its particularly height spire.
I don't know, man. Maybe they did.
I doubt that.
Maybe they went to go see that.
There's plenty of notable churches in London.
There's plenty of notable churches all over the Europe.
Yeah. But the risk for Russia is that the interview raises more questions than it answers and offers more details for skeptics to unpick and challenge, which is true. Because, I mean, realistically, the whole story is a bit bullshit, It's like, oh, they're there in London, and it's like, oh, let's just take a little trip over. Because literally, they spent more time traveling to get to Salisbury and back than they did in Salisbury. Who does that? If you have like a 3-hour trip to some place you want to go see, you usually just spend a day there,
I don't know.
Especially because it was also by train. It wasn't like by car or anything.
Look at goggles.
So, yeah, their story just, brings more doubt to their claims. And I mean, there's video evidence of them, walking through these areas and such.
Is there video evidence of them being there for more than an hour and 30 minutes?
Yeah, they were there for about 3 hours both times.
On
both days.
And they're liars. That's it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's just like, they're trying to say this and, these particular things. But I mean, like, it's pretty clear they can see through it. And I mean, I don't know. We'll see more. But I mean, as it is, there's already a European-wide warrant for their arrest. So they'll be caught if they step foot outside of Russia. Just a matter of time.
Interpol's reach is worldwide, I believe.
Well, Russia doesn't extradite their citizens.
Yes.
So anybody who's in Russia...
it's still worldwide.
Yeah, it's still worldwide, but it doesn't...
most other countries.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if they never leave Russia again.
Yeah, which they probably won't.
Yeah.
They probably won't even live through Russia, to be honest.
No, they'll be fine in Russia because I mean.
No, I think they'll be killed by Russians.
No, I mean it's Putin who pretty much ordered this.
Yeah, no, but it's also a good cover-up if they just mystically disappear.
Well, no, because they've established the cover that they're sports nutritionists, so they have a cover story now. So now they should be fine. I suppose we'll see.
I don't know. I'm just saying, Putin could be like, "You fucking idiots."
He could be, but the UK also has one of the largest CCTV camera networks, of a modern nation.
That's on par with almost on par with China.
Yeah, like
not like facial rec and stuff.
No, not in facial rec, but I mean as far as cameras go, yeah. Because in London, pretty much all of London is blanketed with cameras.
It's like New York. New York's supposed to be blanketing cameras.
Yeah, I mean they have a lot of like IP cams that you can just view. Anyways, on to the next one.
Yes. Nuggets. So 9 killed. As it takes forever for me to move this fucking mouse over here. Click into this. There we go. 9 killed, 46 injured as a man goes on stabbing spree in China after ramming car in the crowd. It's like the second time we've seen a knife stabbing spree in China.
Apparently it's a thing that happens in China. This article literally says that.
Yeah. So the driver... Sorry, dying. No, he's old. Yang Zhanyun, age 54, first plowed through the people with his vehicle, and later got out of it and went on a rampage attacking people with a knife. So I just kind of want to point out the credence of people saying that this will not stop mass violence. It's weird because it's China too. You'd think with their psychopaths credits, their psychopaths, sir, have not come in a while. They're going to get to that point.
No, they are. They definitely want that.
Jesus Christ. It's so weird that it's already that close to that. So anyway.
I'm sure this guy had a terrible social credit score.
Just his psychopath is like black. Anyway, Yang was detained by the police, who said he was a criminal who has a criminal record and has been jailed several times. Knife attacks by disgruntled people in public places and schools to highlight their grievances periodically occur in China.
See, this is like a thing in China.
So it's the same. It's like the same thing as us, but without guns.
Mm-hmm.
This is one thing I want to point out: is this proves that this shit happens other places, even with or without a gun. So
yeah,
that is a negative. That is a negative on gun control.
Well, no, because with a gun, it's a lot easier to kill people en masse. This
is fucking 46 people injured and some dead.
But that could be like a scratch or something. Oh no, somebody fell over. But also, he did use a car. Mm-hmm. So he rammed into a group of people.
Yeah. As I was driving my rental truck today, I kept thinking about the terrorists who ran people over with the rental truck.
Yeah, with that Home Depot truck.
The Home Depot truck. I'm like, interesting.
Yeah.
What does that say about me? Anyway.
It's just a related correlation that you know.
Yeah. Anyway. So, it exists. This shit happens everywhere just because crazy people are crazy wherever. Even if you take knives away, they'll still find something.
They'll just get bigger vehicles.
Oh, jeez. They'll just fucking take a baseball bat to people. A cricket bat. They just anything, really. You know how many things in your daily life can be used as a weapon? Like the whole Joker Batman thing, pencil, is legit.
No, a lot of things could be used as a weapon. Absolutely. But it's also just the amount of effectiveness of said weapon. If I
think I could kill a few people with a pencil or a pen.
You could kill one, maybe two.
Kill one dude, pull it out. Kill the next, pull it out.
Provided it doesn't break. As long as
you continue to stab them in the eye, it's fine.
Yeah, but
it's a very probably.
Yeah, that's a very particular.
Oh, you kill a dude with a pencil. At least expects it. Who has another weapon? You take his weapon, then you continue killing people. You play the gun game, but in real life. It's the thing. You gotta pick your targets carefully. The dude who's least expected, who is also the most armed. That way you can take his gear and then go shoot other people. It's just a good way to think.
Very optimistic, that idea.
It's not optimistic. That's actually terrible. I'm teaching people how to truly evaluate a situation and slaughter tons of people.
Not really. You're just commenting on on a fictitious scenario.
Well, again, pay attention, kill people. End of story. Anyway, anybody that actually sits there and sizes up a room and like sits there and thinks enough about it, well, figure it out. So anyway, several bystanders posted graphic video footage shortly after the incident on Chinese social media. In the videos, dozens of people can be seen lying on the ground, stunned in pools of blood, while panicked crowds and emergency service personnel gather around them. Hong Kong-based South China Morning Post reported. Local media reports quoted a restaurant manager in the vicinity of the attack as saying that he saw a red Land Rover suddenly plowing through a crowd of people at a high speed after 7 p.m. A large number of mostly elderly people were dancing or walking in the square after dinner at that time. Oh no, he attacked the elderly. He's also elderly, too.
No, 54 is not elderly.
54 is pretty old.
He's not elderly. Elderly's like late 60s. Like mid to late 60s.
Like, when you're in your 50s, man, you're not spry as fuck to be going slaughtering people with knives, to be honest.
No, it's saying. China, so...
They're Chinese man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So, on to the EU. So, the EU is planning a 10,000 strong armed border force. So, the European Union, yes.
Why does the EU need that? Also, 10,000 is not enough to defend the EU's border.
It's a supplementary force with the nation's border patrol.
Which nation?
All the nations. The nation's individual border patrol, border.
Most of them being shitty. I wasn't aware that most of these nations had border patrol.
Well, of course, the nations, they have borders to defend and
Do they?
monitor.
What my dude chewing on there? Talking about me, man? I'm eating some fucking Chick-fil-A nuggets, my dude. Fucking Chick-fil-A. You can't really tell, but it says Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
There's a drip conversation everywhere.
Yeah, so this is a supplementary force. With their aims to tackle unlawful migration by 2020. And those are some laudable goals.
They're going to be the American border force.
Yeah, they're going to try.
The immigrants.
Yep, says European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Haha.
Announced in a speech on Wednesday, the force will have the power to use armed force on the EU's external borders.
Ooh.
Yep, migration has been a particularly divisive issue within the EU since the influx of refugees in 2015.
What keeps on lagging, my dude? We're showing like no drop frames. It's the thing probably, like not lagging, it's focusing. How to focus is AIDS.
Yep. So migration has been a big deal in Europe, as you may know. In 2015, of course, the European Union saw multiple millions of migrants go into the EU from both North Africa and the Middle East, particularly
From war-torn countries.
Yeah, from a lot of war-torn countries like Libya, Egypt, Morocco, and of course Syria. That's always the big one, because a lot of those nations are destroyed, usually by civil war and strife, or ISIS.
Today.
Yep. And the effects of these mass immigrations have been seen pretty widely in Europe. Just this July, the new anti-immigrant Italian government refused to allow boats carrying hundreds of migrants to dock in its ports, leading to a political deadlock that only diffused when Spain agreed to take the migrants in. Because it's unfortunate for a lot of these border EU nations is that under the rules of EU, wherever a migrant lands, they have to be landed, they have to be processed, the government registered, stored there for a little bit. So it's
there. Sounds like they're a commodity.
So it puts a lot of pressure on these border nations who have to deal with these influx of migrants into the nation, because obviously Italy's just been overwhelmed over the past many years from a lot of the North African migrants that try and get into the EU. And they don't stay there for too long.
A lot of actually North Africans and African people end up here in the U.S. from the EU. Austin has a ton of them. It's hard to understand when they speak English. Like, not even being racist, their accents are so fucking thick. Everyone's just like, what did he say? I'm like, oh, he said you're a good person. Like the one dude that I worked with, he was a really nice guy. He was like Dandu something or another. And I'm like, he was just super skinny and super tall, like a 2x4. And I'm like,
The Financial Times, breaking the news of Juncker's plan before the announcement, quoted one EU diplomat saying it'd be a moment of truth for the Schengen area. The Schengen area, Schengen zone, is beloved by Europeans of most political leanings, but it has come under particular pressure for its role in allowing migrants to move from one country to another, and Juncker's proposal is an attempt to safeguard said free movement by bolstering oversight over who's allowed to enter into Europe. So the Schengen zone, for people who don't know, is the agreement between 26 countries to allow freedom of movement from one country to another within the EU without a passport or pretty much any documentation.
kind of like how we move between the states and the U.S. You just literally drive.
Yeah, I mean, you can get on a train from Spain and go to Poland, and nobody will ask you for documentation the entire way there. Which is a nice thing for the Europeans. And this is just one more step into the EU becoming the the United States of Europe. Because that's what's going to happen. That's the entire thing of the European Union, is to, become the United Europe of whatever the hell, United States of Europe. It's going to happen. It's only a matter of time. And it's going to happen very quickly. If they can get enough of the economies, of the economic and political pressures tied together within the EU Commission, it's going to be a done deal. And it's already very close already. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave that up to the people of Europe to decide.
Well, there already is one currency, so it's not really going to change much for them.
Well, if they leave it, like UK is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if France leaves, I think that'd be the collapse of the EU.
But the British always used the British pound instead of the euro.
Yes, the British have never...
That's why it didn't matter too much. Like, yeah, it mattered for the EU, and it also, like, originally made... That reminds me, should have brought British money at the time when it crashed hard.
Yeah, it matters to the stability of the European Union, and also the UK as a whole. It's not looking good.
The UK or
the UK?
EU?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, from everything that I've been seeing, it looks like the UK is going to have quite a bit of problems with the fallout from Brexit. Economically, it's already killing them.
I thought they were supposed to be a self-sufficient country.
No, they are, and they will be, but it still doesn't hurt. It still affects them economically and politically because they're no longer in the EU, which means they're no longer in the Schengen zone, which means they also get out of the single market, of which like over 50% of their trade happens within the EU. And if you're in the single market, that means you don't have to worry about tariffs and taxes and fees for members within it.
So they're going to have to learn how to be taxed.
Yeah, so a lot of products are going to be taxed from the UK into the EU, and that means VAT tax. That's 20-25% plus on anything coming from the EU or the UK to the EU, which is going to really hurt businesses. But also economically is that the European Stock Exchange is in London, and a lot of big banks are moving their headquarters and other branches out of London because they're like, look, we don't want to deal with this shit. You know, you're no longer going to be in the EU. We do a lot of business with EU. You know, we're not having it, and we're leaving. And that's actually caused a major effect now, because now New York is back on top and has the highest, like, banking institutions right now. And that's part of the fallout from Brexit.
Didn't the banks and stuff move from New York after 9/11? Wasn't that, like, actually a big factor?
I don't know.
I think so, because the World Trade Center was, like, a giant trade center.
Well, the World Trade Center had a lot of organizations within it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
It had a lot of organizations from all over the world in it.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's
But I mean, they
literally
wouldn't
New
leave
York
just
was like
because
the
their
training
building was
camp.
destroyed.
A lot of people did. Because they pulled out because they thought it was unsafe.
I don't know.
Also-
I'm not 100%
Also,
sure.
the
on
new
anything.
is the new like
The
Twin
One
Tower
World-
thing, the One World Center thing.
Thank you, the big.
Thank you, the big unions for the tower.
Anything
Huh? What?
about the One World Trade Center?
Mm-hmm.
What about it?
I think it's done, right?
Yeah, it's done. It is fully constructed. Which, interestingly enough, in the new Spider-Man game, they do not actually have the One World Trade Center in there as its current design.
What do they have it as?
A different design. Apparently, there's like copyright issues with the company I guess whatever company owns the One World Trade Center.
The fucking new World Trade Center is copyrighted?
Yeah, it's the building design. It's copyrighted.
You can't like have pictures of it or something?
Yeah, they couldn't put it in there.
What? I've never heard of somebody copyrighting a building.
Well, it's the design of the building.
I get the design, but like you couldn't like put it in there as a picture like in most other games?
Well, no.
I've never fucking heard of that.
Yeah, well, also because it's like fully represented. Like you can climb the tower, so they couldn't do the actual design. So they did like a concept design of what one of them could have looked like, and they put that in its stead, which is kind of funny because I was like, "Where's the One World Trade Center?" It's like that building looks similar to it, but I know it's not it because I've seen the damn building. And I was like, "Oh, well, that's what happened." Because I'm like, "Oh, interesting."
Yep. Because we just completely ignore Mixer trolls here.
Yep. Anyways, so here's a pretty accurate quote: "Is that a Europe without internal borders can only exist if it has functioning external borders," which is true. I mean, it's like here in America, you know, we have freedom of movement from anywhere in the nation, pretty much, except to Hawaii, and that's mainly just
They don't have free movement to Hawaii?
Well, we do, but I mean, it's just a geographic limitation.
Ooh. Yeah, because it's fucking...
It's in the middle of an ocean. So it's not really free movement to Hawaii.
I mean, none of these movements are really free.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. But the EU's previous attempts to tackle the migration crisis suggests how difficult it is to reach bloc-wide cooperation on such a politically sensitive issue. Not a single state has volunteered to host migrant processing facilities, a core measure agreed by EU leaders in June. Those plans involve building controlled centers to process migrants inside member states and disembarkation platforms in non-member states where rescued migrants could be taken. Interesting. Yep. I'll cover the next story because I'm pretty interested in this.
Okay. I'm busy anyway.
Yeah. So this just goes to show Trump's audacity and complete disregard for for international law, where the International Criminal Court will continue to be undeterred after U.S. threats. So it says it here, so the International Criminal Court will continue to investigate war crimes undeterred by the Trump administration's threat of sanctions against its judges, the Hague-based organization has declared.
Oh, they're lying in Mixer. That's weird.
Responding to a firebrand speech by the U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton, the United Nations-backed court
Michael Bolton.
said it would not be intimidated or dissuaded from its global mission. I mean, it's insane that they would bother going after the criminal court. Because, I mean, it's one role, well, technically four, is to investigate crimes against humanity, war crimes, like just, different crimes of a global scale when the nations fail to act. I mean, its mission is perfectly clear and shouldn't be a problem.
The United Nations is there to keep the world in check. It doesn't do any of that. But that's what it's there for.
The peacekeepers do keep peace in a lot of nations.
They keep peace in random places, but the peacekeepers could never stop America from doing anything, or Russia, or any of the big member nations from doing anything they want to do.
No, they couldn't, but that's not the point. The point is to keep the peace. The point isn't to stop war. The point is to go into issues where where the situation is very tense and there's the potential for an outbreak of like civil war, civil strife, and it's their jobs to go in there.
There's been times that the UN peacekeepers just went and slaughtered people, though. We talked about that.
Yeah, we talked
about
that.
that.
I think there was a couple cases.
Yeah. They're human, they're fallible, I guess. But still.
Yeah. So part of why the Trump administration is coming out against the ICC is because the ICC is launching an investigation into alleged war crimes committed by the U.S. military and intelligence service during the war in Afghanistan, or pursue any investigation. This is the quote. So if the ICC investigates any of this or pursues any investigation into Israel or other U.S. allies, Bolton warned the U.S. would impose sanctions against the court and where possible prosecute the officials. So basically they'd be like, we're going to sanction you or we're going to issue warrants for your arrest. That's ridiculous. That's an absolute insane thing for the Trump administration to say.
For the random people in the police force, that would be a what is it? Not disrupt the peace. Something disrupting. Was it a investigation or something like that? What's the actual term?
Interfering.
Yeah, it's interfering with an investigation, which is a crime.
Yeah.
Our police do it, they'll tag you with that just if you're like, stop doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Stop beating that man. So you're interfering with an police investigation. And then they go and start beating you. Like, welcome to.
And then you're resisting arrest.
That's the other one, is resisting arrest. If you just
it's like, am I being arrested? No, but you're resisting arrest.
What?
Because that's the one thing that's like the default charge. Like, you're not being charged with anything, but you're being charged with resisting arrest for not doing anything.
So am I being arrested? As soon as they say no, you can just walk away and stop talking to them. Now, if they beat the shit out of you or anything like that, then that's kind of on them. It should be on them, and it is sometimes. But on other times,
and they get off anyways.
They get off anyways. It's like bad, and you get a week suspension with pay.
Paid. Yeah.
And
paid time off.
And then they don't apologize, nothing. Like, you get nothing out of it. Also, and
then the police unions come out in full force and be like, they did nothing wrong. This is a prosecution of our men in blue. Respect the blue line, all that jazz.
And then they sell more of the blue line flags and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, in a short statement, the ICC said the court was established and constituted under the Rome Statute, the court's founding treaty, to which 123 countries from all regions of the world are party to, and have pledged their support through ratification, as an instrument to ensure accountability for crimes that shock the conscience of humanity. The court is an independent and impartial judicial institution, of which the United States actually signed this treaty to make this court, and in 2002 decided, we're going to back out of it. Which is ironic, considering, in 2002, that's when we started, fucking Iraqi freedom, or whatever the hell.
2002, yeah, that was, No, Desert Storm was before.
Desert Storm was in, the 90s.
Desert Storm was in the 90s, yeah. And then it was, Iraqi
and then, Kuwait freedom was also 90s.
There's no Kuwait freedom.
Well, there was a Kuwait something or another.
It was a part of Desert Storm, I'm pretty sure.
I think so, yeah.
Desert Storm was literally going to the Middle East, fuck shit up. It's a Desert Storm. David Sandstorm. But no, fucking, it was, it was something freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that, right as we're about to go into Iraq, we're going to back out of this International Criminal Court.
Probably because we're going to do some fucked up shit again. Because
crazy.
We do it every time.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, United States. If we actually prosecuted, the people who committed these war crimes under our own courts, you know what? The ICC wouldn't have to step in. Because that's the entire point of the ICC, is when a country fails to act, fails to prosecute, fails to make any kind of movements, then they step in and look, this country isn't going to do their due diligence, so we're going to do it for them. And we're not going to be as kind. Bolton's address alarmed many legal experts. Mark Ellis, the executive director of London-based International Bar Association, said this extraordinary attack launched by Bolton against the ICC is not only in direct contradiction to the principles of accountability for war crimes, but reinforces the Trump administration's repugnant policy of exceptionalism.
Apparently we were in the Dominican Civil War.
Huh, that doesn't surprise me. We probably started the Civil Wars.
War of South Zaire, Operation Eagle Claw, Gulf of Sudaria encounter, Lebanese Civil War, Invasion of Grenada. Oh, there's songs about that. Action of Gulf of Sidra, bombing of Libya. Wow, we were doing that in the 80s apparently.
We did a lot of wars.
Turbo.
Now that's when we invaded Panama.
The Bay of Pigs was further down. Gulf War, which is Iraqi no-fly zone enforcement. First intervention in Somalia, Bosnian War, intervention in Haiti,
Kosovo,
Operation
Infinite Reach.
So it was the Gulf War and then Desert Storm. Desert Storm was the one we were talking about.
Well, there's the 21st century.
Iraq
War. War of Afghanistan, Iraq War.
The war in Northwest Pakistan,
which is still going on, apparently.
War in Somalia, Operation Ocean Shield, American IED intervention in Libya, Lord's Resistance Army insurgency in Uganda. Nice. American IED intervention in Iraq. Is that actually
American-led?
American IED
led
intervention in Syria. Yeah. Yemeni Civil War.
Yes, which we've covered.
Yep. American intervention in Libya. We're did everything.
Yeah.
Everything is victory though, except for these last three are ongoing. Hold on. Is there something else that's ongoing? A war in Somalia. Wow, Somalia is ongoing.
The war in Northwest Pakistan, which has been going on for 14 years. And a war in Afghanistan. Part of the war on terror.
Operation Infinite Reach. Partial victory. United States versus Al-Qaeda, Sudan, Harak-u-Mujahideen, and Lashkar-e-Taiba, whatever.
Yeah. Interesting. Yep.
Dude, Kosovo, though. Look at the Kosovo War. You know how many
everybody was fucking involved.
Against Yugoslavia.
Well, yeah, Yugoslavia fucked up bad.
Intervention in Haiti. Was that a war? I thought we saved them after. Apparently we saved them and they became our little country after we raped them with Poland and Argentina. Yeah, reinstatement of Jean-Bertrand Aristide as president of Haiti.
Victory.
And Bosnia. First intervention of Somalia. That's Iraqi no-fly zone enforcement. Everybody versus Iraq. Same thing with the Gulf War. So yeah, the Gulf War is the one in the 90s. It's Gulf War and Operation Desert Storm, I'm pretty sure. Interesting. Interesting. I can't believe we're in so many fucking wars. I mean, I
can believe it.
This is all just from the 20th century. Insane.
So, Jamal Dakwar, the director of the American ACLU Human Rights Program, said the Trump administration's threat to criminally prosecute and sanction international criminal court judges and prosecutors is straight out of an authoritarian playbook. Yeah. Yeah, Trump thinks he can do whatever the hell he pleases on the world stage and there will be no consequences for it. So you know what, ICC? Investigate the Afghanistan war crimes to hell and back.
There was a fucking pirate vessel? What? In the Indian Ocean, 12 men Black Smoke rises from a destroyed pirate vessel that struck the USS Farragut in March 2010. There's pirates? Number of pirates attacks have decreased
Somali.
Dramatically.
Yeah, the Somali pirates, there's a lot of them.
This is just Operation Ocean.
Yeah, it's really dangerous to go on like a cruise near Somalia.
Somali pirates, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's really dangerous. Because like Somali pirates will go on like cruise ships and like fucking just try and take over or rob people. It's not a safe place.
So
like,
what you're saying is I should like become a PMC and just go drive a boat into the middle of Somalia and just start shooting Somalian pirates all the time. I mean, so I'd rather go into Afghanistan or something and get paid the big bucks. So I don't know if I want to be on a ship.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like sometimes whenever cruise ships like go through there, they have to like kill all the lights and just be in complete and total darkness.
It's kind of like what is there was a movie. There was the one with Tom Hanks where I Am the Captain Now. That was a tanker thing. That was like whatever. But there was another one where it was a cruise ship, and they're like, "Hold on, everybody, we have to kill the lights because they're Somalian pirates or something." Yeah,
they have to do that.
I forgot which one that was, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So it's also pretty interesting is that they're doing this. The ICC is going after these war crimes in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan is a fucking member that has ratified the ICC treaty, the Rome Statute. So Afghanistan, that big bad enemy in the Middle East of ours, has decided, you know what? I'll respect the law, the international law and authority of the ICC, but America, nah, fuck it. And he even says here, so the head of Afghanistan's Human Rights Commission, which I didn't even know they had a Human Rights Commission, said that establishing the truth about war crimes allegations in her country was important. It's very unfortunate because delivering justice to victims will help to facilitate the peace process in Afghanistan. It's a luxury, she said, justice is not a luxury, it is a basic human right. So we'll see where this goes. I mean, the ICC is going to carry out this investigation, and it'll probably take years. Honestly, we won't hear probably much for like 3 or 4 years once they start this. And probably in like 4 or 5 years, it's probably going to be like, okay, here's a list of everybody who, you know, we need to interview, investigate, who we're charging with. I mean, the process takes a very long time. Like, I was reading about this court.
Operation Inherent Resolve.
And they were talking about how, like, from Uganda, from like the Uganda genocide, like, they were still prosecuting people like freaking 10, 15 years later. So this is going to take a while, but hey, they're starting the process. Okay, anyways, I'm going to step away so I can make a call.
Did you say make a call?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, he steps away to make a call. I shall continue. Oh, the UK's mass surveillance program violates human rights, European court rules. We were just talking about this earlier. The UK government's mass surveillance program violated human rights and had no real safeguards. The European Court of Human Rights, EHCR, has said in a landmark ruling. The Strasbourg court said British intelligence agencies' interception regime violated the right to a private and family life, since there was insufficient oversight over which communications were chosen for examination. Not enough protection was given to journalistic sources by the government's mass information collection program, violating the right to freedom of expression. They have that there? Question mark? That's news to me. It also said, oh, that's it. This is it also said. But the court ruled that sharing information with foreign governments did not violate either the right to a private and family life or to free speech. It is the first major challenge to the legality of the UK's bulk collection of communication and follows revelations that both the US and British governments were gathering communication on a population level. Done. Silky Carlo, director of the Big Brother Watch, Jesus Christ, said, this landmark judgment confirming that the UK's mass spying breached fundamental rights vindicates Mr. Snowden's courageous whistleblowing and the tireless work of the Big Brother Watch and others in our pursuit for justice. She continued, under the guise of counterterrorism, the UK has adopted the most authoritarian surveillance regime of any Western state, corroding democracy itself and the rights of the British public. Interesting. What say you, Internet? Let me say it's fairly accurate. I don't know. There's not a lot of things that we can do about shit like that. It's to be fair, it does make things safer for some people. I mean, you know, for some of us, it helps catch people, but like, it is a massive breach of our privacy. I forget who it was. It's like a philosopher. Somebody said, you know, we're gonna have to give up our privacy and some of our ways of life to be the most safe and secured country, groups of people, etc. Anyway, so on to the U.S. though. On to less depressing and realistic news. Manhattan's DA's office drops more than 3,000 open marijuana cases. Yes, and more weed news as usual. Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance on Wednesday dropped more than 3,000 open marijuana smoking and possession cases dating back to 1978, saying the action would serve justice and address racial disparities in the prosecution of marijuana offenses. The district attorney's decision applies to misdemeanor and violation cases in which a warrant was issued because the defendant failed to appear in court. It does not apply to any cases where a defendant was convicted, well obviously, or to more serious charges like selling marijuana. We made a decision that is really in the interest of justice, Vance said at a press conference in court after making his motion. He added that dropping the charges would remove a burden from his office and the court system. We have to actually look at the resources we have. What resources the court has, he said. Vance announced earlier this year that his office would no longer prosecute marijuana smoking possession cases The decision was part of a nationwide trend among state and local governments to ease enforcement or legalize the drug. Good. Good news for everybody that smokes the green, the ganja, and the things. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to use the restroom.
Makes it perfect.
Alright, and we're back.
Okay, we are live. I was talking for that entire time and nobody could hear me.
Nope.
Okay. So world's biggest tobacco companies aim to kill Montana healthcare initiative. That's a great, it's a great reputation to have. You know, cigarette companies trying to kill healthcare. Good on you.
Tobacco killed the everybody star? So the video killed the radio star?
Yep. So two of the world's largest tobacco companies are facing financial opposition to a Montana ballot referendum that would lead to government-funded healthcare for about 94,000 people in the state, or about 10% of the state's population. So it's a pretty big deal for the Montanans. This week, regulators found that Altaria and RAI Services, the corporate parents of Marlboro and Camel cigarette brands, violated the state's campaign finance rules by failing to disclose support to the group campaigning against the measure called Montanans Against Tax Hikes, or MATH. Everybody's thinking they're so clever. It's
drunk driving.
Yep. Mad. It's a simple choice. Medicare saves lives, big tobacco kills. Yeah. Says Jonathan Schaefer, Executive Director of the Fairness Project, which is helping to organize the ballot initiative. This November, Montanans will vote on whether to add a $2 tax on a pack of cigarettes. The referendum calls for the tax to be used to fund Medicaid, a government health insurance program that provides care for the poor. Medicaid eligibility was expanded in Montana under the ACA. However, Montana's expansion program will expire in 2019, so to stop the program from shrinking and leaving 94,000 Montanans without health care coverage, the referendum seeks a permanent expansion and a tax cut to pay for, and a cigarette tax to pay for it, not a tax cut.
That's interesting. That's people aren't expecting healthcare for free anymore because that's not going to happen, even though there's plenty of money to come from other places.
Well, there's always money from other places. But
that's what I'm saying, but it's just like they're like, here's a reasonable thing. It sucks for smokers, but
smoking is bad.
Shouldn't be smoking. Okay? Shouldn't be smoking.
Yeah, smoking's bad. Okay. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that under the ACA, I think we've talked about this previously, is that this expansion with Medicaid is actually really fantastic for these states because they can expand Medicaid, and the federal government, in the beginning of the program, which was for the first 2-3 years, covered 95%. And then after those 2-3 years, it went down to 90%. The federal government is covering 90% of this Medicaid program and giving millions of poor Americans health care. And the states
I still got Medicaid when I was poor.
Yeah.
I didn't.
And all the states have to do is put up 10%. I mean, if you're doing this, you better find a damn place in your budget for this, because if the federal government's gonna pick up the tab on most of it, just do it. Of course, states like Texas decided not to do it because Texas, and fuck getting free money from the federal government to provide health care for the poor. Because fuck the poor in Texas.
Fuck the poor in Texas, yep.
Yeah. So cigarette taxes have been found by the U.S. Surgeon General, the World Bank, and WHO as the most effective way to encourage smokers to quit and discourage young people from smoking.
Yeah, a.k.a. raise the price to ridiculous amounts, and you can't afford to smoke.
It's pretty crazy. Like in New York, a pack of cigarettes is $15.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's just a carton is freaking $50-$60.
Oh, the 15, I think it's $20 is a carton. 15 and 20 is a carton here.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. They're trying to tax them.
$5 a pack though.
They're trying to tax them out of existence, and it'll work, as it says. Montana's current cigarette tax is $1.70 per pack, which is about the median in the U.S. So not even the highest, they're right in the middle. Not the lowest, not the highest. So they could do to raise it, and they'd still probably be freaking lower than, like I said, New York. According to the decision from Montana regulators, the tobacco companies failed to register as incidental committees in opposition to the ballot initiative as the rules require. They also failed to disclose travel expenses when cigarette lobbyists flew to the state to lobby the Montana Chamber of Commerce. So it says here, Chuck Denow, Math's treasurer, told The Guardian that they had a broad-based support, and when they refused to answer about Math's primary backers, he said he would not stand this runaround before hanging up. But Altaria and REI Services are not just Math's most significant funders, they are nearly their only funders. So, an organization which came out of nowhere and just started hammering TV, newspaper, and radio in the past 2 months, and they're like, no, our primary backers are the cigarette companies. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not the least bit suspicious or biased. Not at all. Cigarettes are good for you. Smoke. Are you smoking yet? Smoke menthols. Get rid of that cough. After a long days of it's like those old 1950s little ads.
The better ones were like the cowboy. It's like the old Marlboro man.
The Marlboro cowboy, yeah.
Marlboro man.
Which
be like him. Be a real man. Real men smoke Marlboro.
Yes, and if you look at all the Marlboro men, they've all died of fucking lung cancer. Fact, folks. Look it up. Like the last 5 Marlboro men, lung cancer killed them all. Crazy idea that. Yep. And this just keeps getting better. So a phone number provided for Math in the group's campaign finance filings went to the voicemail of Shelby DeMars, partner in the lobbying firm for the Montana group. DeMars also worked as a communications director for the Secretary of Interior, Ryan Zink. The same Secretary of Interior who tried to get a 2-man fucking electric company to redo all of Puerto Rico before it was found out. She's like, how many employees do you have? 2 people. 2 or 3 people. And you're going to redo all of Puerto Rico. Yeah, we got this. Right. But that's thanks to Ryan Zink.
And 5 men who claim to have appeared in the Marlboro-rated advertisements: Wayne McLaren, David McLean, Dick Hammer, okay, Eric Lawson, and Jerome Edward Jackson, a.k.a. Tobin Jackson, died of smoking-related diseases, thus earning Marlboro cigarettes, specifically Marlboro Reds, the nickname Cowboy Killers. Wayne McLaren testified in favor of anti-smoking legislation at the age of 51. During the time of McLaren's anti-smoking activism, Philip Morris denied that McLaren ever appeared in a Marlboro ad, a position it later amended to maintain that while he did appear in the ads, he was not the Marlboro Man. Winfield held that title. In response, McLaren produced an affidavit from a talent agency that represented him, along with a paycheck stub, saying that he had been paid for work on a Marlboro print job. McLaren died before his 52nd birthday in 1992. Interesting. Damn. And then David McLean died of lung cancer. Eric, in print ads, died of respiratory failure due to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. Who was a smoker since 14,
God
so
damn.
smoking things. John Edward Jackson, a.k.a. Tobin Jackson, died of lung cancer. So yeah, smoking-related diseases.
Yeah. Like I said, folks, smoking kills, which we already know that, but it's also killed the Marlboro men. Yep. So, smoking costs Montana Medicaid's program $81 million each year, or about $7.79 per household in federal and state taxes in the sparsely populated state, according to the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. Each year, tobacco companies spend an estimated $31.3 million in advertising to Montanans and $8.9 billion across the country.
I haven't seen cigarette ads in forever. I see so many truth anti-tobacco ads though.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it's just a matter of what you're watching.
I don't watch TV anymore though.
Well, that's the thing. You don't watch TV, and they do it on TV because that's where the smokers are. Probably on like the local over-the-air stations because they know people can always get those. Not necessarily like satellite or cable.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
It's also probably cheaper.
All TV's expensive, to be honest.
No, yeah, but I mean, if you're doing advertising on like satellite or cable, like particular channels, it's probably a lot more expensive.
Mm.
Versus just, advertising it over the air.
Trojan should have advertised from Game of Thrones. You know how many fucking
Could they afford the advertising?
Trojan? Fuck yeah. Trojan are some of the best condoms made ever. They're also not expensive.
I'm not talking about the quality of the condom. I'm just talking about that's probably like prime. I mean, they don't even do. Well, I mean, HBO.
Trojan has a fucking ad on like the halftime show sometimes, I believe.
Yeah,
that's a fuck ton of money, Kevin.
That's hundreds of millions.
Yeah, so they have the money.
Yeah, but it's HBO, so there's no ads.
Is there no ads on HBO? There is ads on HBO if you're watching it.
Well, I watched the online HBO.
Well, yeah, but they could have had all the commercial like after a fucking scene, just like when you want your love to be as passionate as they. Like they could have done it, man. There were so many memes about it. Actually, I'm not even sure if that is. Let me see if there is any. Anyway, carry on.
There's always memes, everything.
Yeah.
But that's actually the end of the story.
Oh, well then I'll do that later, I guess.
This next story is a doozy.
Report. Pharma exec says he had moral requirement to raise drug price 400%. Is this that dickhead?
No, it's not another dickhead.
It's another dickhead. Hooray! A pharmaceutical company executive defended his company's recent 400% drug price increase, telling the Financial Times that his company had a moral requirement to sell the product at the highest price. What?
Yes.
That mean
it
you're morally a dick? Or you're morally a dick? Not a dick.
Yeah, he's trying to morally justify raising the price of a drug.
So you're like,
it's like, look. Morally, ethically, I have to raise the price of this drug.
That's so stupid. I've never heard anybody try to use that shit in my life. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, if these dudes get away with stuff like this, that if fucking, pastors aren't going to say, you can't donate $1 anymore. You have to donate 20s. It's your right. It's what you're supposed to. It's what God would have wanted.
Only du fromage.
It's a fucking bedazzled Dexter.
I know, but it's just kind of funny to see.
It's weird, but yeah.
And of course, top comment.
I'm gonna do fromage. I'm gonna do fromage. I should say that to Emmanuel so he can look at me really funny. That's funny. I did his voice impersonation today. With his fucking, I was like, well, Daddy, do you need to go? And he's not that bad. But it's like, when he's to Santa Clara, it's like, Santa Clara. And he'll really hard. And I'm like, Santa Clara, got it. Yeah. Germantown and stuff like that. He just says things that way. It's not like, wee, but sometimes it's like, wee. It's hard to explain. You'd have to hear him to be like, he's definitely not English. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, no, I thought he was going to be a Mexican dude. And the first time I hear him talk on the phone, I'm like, this is some Eastern European motherfucker. French, specifically. Eastern Europe.
That's Western Europe.
Is it?
Yes.
Isn't it more central?
No, it's Western Europe. Like, Italy would be Central Europe. Like, the nation's north, Italy and north would be central. Because, like, France is right north of freaking Spain. Mm-hmm. So, and it's, of course, bordering the UK. It's Western Europe.
Yeah, I suppose so. Wait, France borders the UK?
I mean, there's the English Channel.
That's what I mean. Like, that still counts as being Europe. The English Channel.
Well, yeah, no, that's why I said they border.
It's a body of water.
It's a border that's a body of water.
I don't know.
I mean, actually, they do have an underwater tunnel between the two nations.
Yeah.
So they have a physical tunnel.
There's a couple tunnels between a few nations, actually.
Yes, but I mean, particularly for France.
And that's where the tube goes. There's one that goes out of UK into Germany.
Okay.
Anyway, the more you know. Yes. So, yeah, pharmaceuticals company, blah blah blah. The head of the U.S. Food and Drug blasted the executive. The head of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, blasted the executive in a response on Twitter. Nirmal Mulya, founder and president of Nostrum Pharmaceuticals, commented in a story Tuesday about the decision to raise price of an antibiotic mixture called nitrofurantoin from about $500 per bottle, which is still expensive as fuck, to more than $2,300. The drug is listed by the World Health Organization as an essential medicine for lower urinary tract infections. What?
An essential medicine just means that this is a medicine that they agree needs to be very common, and that it's the best and safest drug for these particular things.
Yeah, but UTIs can be fought with any standard antibiotic.
But they say this is the best and safest. It has the least risks known out there.
Yeah, but you would but I'm trying to say regular, just regular antibiotics that one that people are allergic to. Penicillin. Penicillin works. Penicillin and derivatives and stuff like that work.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that's what that means, is that it's by the WHO.
I wonder how much stuff is listed by the WHO as that, though, to be honest.
Quite a lot. I mean, there's...
That's what I was going to say.
No, not for urinary tract infections. But I mean, there's hundreds of drugs covering... This is they have a huge list, and it covers, all the different drugs that you could need that are the safest, the best, for whatever the particular item is. And
so what you're saying is I should go to that list and be like, doctor, I want this next time I get sick.
Well, maybe.
Can I have the generic form of that?
Sadly enough, this is actually, this guy and the drug this company produces, he actually produces the generic of this drug.
Does he produce the generic for much cheaper? Is it like EpiPen when they produce the generic EpiPen for something cheaper but not much cheaper?
It was half the price, which was still fucking expensive.
$500 per bottle is fucking expensive. Then again, drugs actually cost a lot. Your insurance pays for most of it.
Well, that's also part of the problem, is that insurance charges a shit ton because the pharmaceutical companies say, hey, this drug is, we're going to charge $1,000 for this drug.
Yeah, well, it's like my mom's stock. She bought stock from a pharmaceutical company. It was $200 stock. It fucking jumped up to $900.
God damn.
I don't know how much percent profit that is. 2 times, 3 times?
Yeah.
Almost 4? It's between 3 and 4. Yeah, I mean, it's just fucking money, right? It's raining money. Hallelujah. I mean,
yeah.
But she didn't pull out at that much. She still pulled out somewhere high, but not at the 900%. More 400.
Damn.
But I was like, gross. It's how much did you buy a stock? It was $200 per stock, so it's an expensive stock you get to. But if you buy one at 200 and it shoots up to fucking 900, you're still making,
700.
Yeah, you're making $700, which is again almost triple the profit.
Very good. Yes.
Actually, it's over triple. Yeah.
Well, 3.5 times.
Yep. It's a lot of. It's good money.
Yep.
Good money.
Yeah, but it's pretty just insane. This is the generic. The generic used to cost $500, and now it costs $2,300. The brand name $2,800. The brand name of this costs $2,800.
$500 extra dollars.
Yeah.
At that point, it's who cares? Anyway, and here's the quote. I think it's a moral requirement to make money when you can. So it's a moral requirement to be a fucking stingy, greedy, motherfucking... Anyway, so yes, it's very bad to be a Kenneth. But no, I mean, this is ridiculous. Is this how all rich people think? Is this? Oh, I believe it's against my morals to not overcharge and fuck over half of humanity. Just so I can have more money. So I can take my money baths. Oh.
Well, part of the thing with corporations is that, particularly by the bylines of corporations, normally in their founding documents, there's usually a statement saying that the job of the CEO or president or whoever is to maximize profits for the shareholders. So no standard corporation is ever entitled to do anything for the public good. They're complete
Actually,
service.
it's not even in the bylines of the company. It's in the trade laws for shares. If you're a publicly traded company, it's in the law. It's a law. It is a fucking law that they have to make a profit or they can be sued.
They have to maximize profits for the shareholders.
That's not even maximize. Is they have to make a profit. As long as you make a profit, it's fine.
Yeah, but in the corporate bylines, it's usually you have to maximize profits. Which is actually pretty interesting because that's how a normal corporation goes. There's also, I was actually reading today about it, a thing called public benefit corporations, which their actual first duty...
It's the public, obviously.
Well, is actually to charitable organizations. So, if they're doing something, they don't actually need to consider, maximizing profits for their shareholders. They have to consider the moral and ethical good of their investments and their duties, and then they can go long-term profitability and for the shareholders. But their first responsibility is for the charitable good. And I'm like, more corporations need to be like that.
But that's not how corporate America works.
I know that's not
how capitalism
I
works.
know.
Either. This is capitalism.
Yes,
this is
capitalism. This is the disgusting, ugly underside of capitalism. Not even the underside. This is right there in your face.
Once you become old enough to realize that the world fucking sucks and this is how the world works, at least in the U.S., but in most places too.
I'll give it to the guy. At least he didn't raise it 4,000% like Pharma Bro did.
Yeah, so it's covered further on the story. So, I think it's where Mule told the Financial Times to sell the product for the highest price. The Financial Times said Mule compared his decision to increase the price to that of an art dealer who sells a painting for $500 million and said he was in this business to make money. First of all, half of the art dealers that sell art for that much, that's not worth it, unless it's like the original Mona Lisa or something.
And also, the Mona Lisa is priceless. Actually, I don't know if there is a price.
It has a price. Everything has a price, Kenneth. Let's be real here.
Well, I guess you can price it on the insurance on her.
Yeah, everything has a price, my friends. His life has a price. His body, his organs, everything has a price, whether you know it or not.
Well, right, organs have a price. So apparently the insurance on the Mona Lisa is $100 million. And that's
relatively cheap.
That actually, it says it's the highest known insurance valuation for a painting, which is, the Mona Lisa.
So how the fuck is somebody getting away with selling $500 million?
No, I think he's just using it as an example, because I was like, there's no art in the world that has ever sold for $500 million.
Yeah, I was going to say, $100 million, it doesn't sound that much whenever that's like a, big...
A rare, one-of-a-kind, one of the most noted paintings in the world.
It's actually not a rare one-of-a-kind. There's a couple...
There's a couple roughs, but this is the main one.
Yeah, I know. But still. Hi. Anyway. Interesting. According to the Financial Times, the executive defended Pharma Bro, Martin Shkreli, who was once dubbed the most hated man in America after his company raised the price of an AIDS drug more than 5,000%, not 4,000, 5,000.
5,000.
In 2015. Shkreli was recently sentenced to 7 years in prison for fraud due to mismanaging money at his hedge funds.
So I love that. So he's not, sent to jail for raising a very needed drug for fucking AIDS 5,000%. No.
That's his company and his justification.
Yeah.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants, sadly.
It was like, no, he sent for fraud. It kind of reminds me of, not Al Capone? Yeah.
For what?
Yeah, no, because he was the big, he was the big, alcohol mafioso. Yeah, he was the head in the 1920s. And he was caught on, financial charges. Not on any of the other shit he did. The IRS caught him.
None of the gang shit. He was in trouble for fucking,
for tax avoidance and fraud.
Evasion. Yeah, but I think Capone got off, and some of his men got off because they snitched.
Capone was in jail for, life for, decades. He was in jail for quite a long time. But that's the thing. It's just can't catch him.
He got off originally for all the other charges because of.
Yeah, probably because his guys, flipped and said I did it, and they really couldn't. Yeah, but I'm just that's one of those interesting things that happens is the criminals.
He also got caught way later. He got fairly recently within our lifetime, I think.
No. Al Capone's dead. He's been dead for freaking. 30, 40 years.
There was a notorious gangster that got caught in our lifetime for tax evasion, even though he was on the run for many, many years or something like that. The IRS found him and the police couldn't. It was one of those things. Again, so I want to point out to everybody, the government always wants their fucking money. They don't even care if you do illegal shit with it. There's literally illegal funds. The IRS will come after you and get you.
Yeah, there is the box on a tax form if you're for marijuana mainly, but did you get this money from illegal? I know, but did you get this money from illegal operations or bribes? And you have to fill that in.
It's so weird. It's weird that's actually a fucking thing.
And it's also weird.
Taxation is.
I kind of wonder when the IRS sees that filled out. Do they go to the police? Or they're they reported it.
No, as long as they fucking give them money. I don't think the IRS gives a shit.
They reported it, so...
We can always test it. This year I can say all of my earnings are all legal funds and see if police come to my door.
I suppose so. Be I just accidentally put that box in.
Although I think, since I work at a different job, or a decent job, I think some of my shit's going to be automated.
Maybe. I don't know.
There is a thing, like, once you type in your number, it autofills, like, all of your information.
From, like, last year.
Oh.
But that's because
there was
you
one
already submitted
company
it.
that I was with that submits my shit to the IRS, and I don't even have to do anything. I
don't
forgot
know.
where it was.
I've never heard of
All I
company
did was
that does
pull.
that.
All I had to do is like go to the account and sign in, and then it's like, here's the thing we got from your company. Fill in the other blanks like the itineraries and stuff.
Cool.
Like that. And I was like,
I've never done that.
Interesting.
I've never had that. I know they do it in like Europe, where there's like people don't do their taxes; they just get a check. It's
the
like,
check with
the
a Q,
check.
a check. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So he said he mismanaged money with his frauds. I agree with Martin Shkreli that when he raised the price of his drug, he was within his rights because he had to reward his shareholders. There you go. Merrill's quoted saying, FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb, whatever, issued a sharp rebuke of the CEO on Twitter shortly after the story published, saying there's no moral imperative to price gouging and take advantage of patients. Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't this technically price gouging? Like that, price gouging is illegal.
Well, what's the definition of price gouging? Like,
I didn't spell that right.
not good enough.
It's a pejorative term referring to when a seller spikes the prices of goods, services, or commodities to a level much higher than is considered reasonable or fair, and is considered exploitative, potentially to an unethical extent. It just occurs to demand or supply shock. Common examples: price increases based on necessities of hurricanes, natural disaster. Imprecise legal usage is the name of a crime that applies in some jurisdictions in the United States during civil emergencies. Unless prices usage refer to ethics obtained by practices inconsistent with a competitive free market or to windfall profits in the former Soviet Union, it was simply included under the single definition of speculation.
So I don't think this technically counts as price gouging because the brand name still costs more than it.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as that's still true,
So they equally raised it. But still, I still think that still should be illegal. Like,
no, there's still definitely a concern.
The FTC or somebody should step in when something like this happens, like with a 5,000% from Farmer Bro, and be like, no, you can't do this. Like, I understand you want to make profit for people and yourself, but like, we're in America, we're here for the people and for, providing your drugs to everybody. We're going to have to put our foot down. Like, why doesn't a regulatory committee exist to actually do that? I understand raising the price of the, inflation, speculation, something, expecting the market to get higher, prices to go up. I get that. But 5,000% is no way reasonable at any time. Hmm? Never. It's never reasonable.
Well, part of it is on the insurance companies, because like, if you look at like in the UK or in any modern nation that has universal healthcare, is that it's the government going to these manufacturers and saying, look, we have all of your market, we have everybody in here, so you're going to do what we say. We set these prices at X, and you're going to sell it to us at X, or we will go find somebody who will sell it to us for that. And that's what they do. They have the buying power and the market to do so. But here in America, it's all these different insurance companies, and it's a different insurance company for every state. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, Blue Cross Blue Shield whatever. They're all individually, working with these manufacturers.
Now they can cross state lines though because of the
but it's still not a good thing because then they can go to wherever credit card companies did this, and they went to Delaware. Mm-hmm. Is that in Delaware they have the most lax credit card laws on the books for the entire nation, mm-hmm. and to be applicable, all they have to do is go headquartered in Delaware. So if you look at your credit card and you say where is it headquartered? It's Delaware. Visa, MasterCard, Barclays, it's all Delaware. Because that's where the most lax rules are. And the same thing would happen for these insurance companies. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas.
A lot of places are getting headquartered in Dallas and Texas. Texas is opening up doors to letting businesses fuck people. That's always been Texas.
Well, that's always Texas. It's not a good thing, but it's Texas. Yeah.
These are jobs. That's about all I can say.
Yeah. Anyways. Where were we?
Anyway, so Neil said the real villain is the incompetent and corrupt FDA. which he has said has placed regulatory burdens on the industry, leading to higher drug prices.
Yeah.
He said he fired off an email to Gottlieb after his tweet. Basically, I said in a nutshell that he does not have the necessary competence to comment on the morality of drug price increases, which is a complex subject.
Yes, the FDA commissioner, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, whose entire job is to manage and see how these drug companies do and manage the whole FDA process. He doesn't know enough about it.
Honestly, Gottlieb should stay away from tweet, and he needs to stay in his office and listen to people like me and reform the agency.
The arrogance.
It sounds like somebody that's just a rich kid that's been rich all his life and has known nothing other than making money and stealing from people.
Yeah, just like these people need to listen to me. I know what's best for you. The poor people, the regulators.
What are you, the poor? You can't even afford any of my services. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm. If you can't afford my drug, well, you just shouldn't use it. Just die.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's like the Republican healthcare plan. If you get sick, die quickly.
Pretty much.
Anyways, on to Botham Jean shooting. This is actually a local story here in Dallas.
Was it?
Yes. Family attorney says witnesses dispute Amber Geiger's account. Dozens of demonstrators gathered outside Dallas Police Headquarters Monday evening to demand justice for Botham Jean, the 26-year-old who was shot inside his own apartment last Thursday by an off-duty police officer, Amber Geiger. Geiger has been charged with manslaughter, but demonstrators say that's not enough. Her case now heads to a grand jury where her charges could be bumped up to murder. According to the arrest warrant, Geiger told investigators that she went to what she thought was her third-floor apartment. Instead, she went to Jean's fourth-floor apartment. First off, I live in an apartment, and I go up and down those stairs all the time. You would know if you went up an extra flight of stairs.
Yep.
It was like, oh God, I've had to climb 3 flights of stairs.
I lived up on the 3rd story. You noticed the first story, the 2nd story thing right here. No, but 3rd story. Oh yeah.
So to go up to the 4th story?
Oh fuck yeah! You're gonna know that shit.
You're gonna notice.
Shit, on the third story, you're gonna be like, "What am I doing with my life?" On the 4th story, you're gonna be like, "I made it."
Exactly. So it's just like, come on, all the way to the 4th story, and she's like, "It's my apartment on the 3rd floor." Geiger said her door was ajar and she saw a large silhouette inside. After giving verbal commands that were ignored, she fired her handgun twice, striking Jean once in the torso. It wasn't until Geiger turned on the lights and called 911 that she realized that she was at the wrong apartment.
Who? So the chick that killed somebody?
Yes, the off-duty officer who killed somebody went to the 4th floor apartment that she thought was hers. And
she just walked. First of all, who the fuck doesn't keep their apartment locked? That's why I tell Colin to keep the goddamn door locked. Anyway. Fuck. Why you don't leave your shit unlocked?
Is it locked right now?
Yes.
I mean, I have to lock my door because it's just the deadbolt thing.
So is that one.
Yeah.
There's no fucking... I hate that up here. There's no, knob lock. Just a fucking weird plungery thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Who the fuck doesn't use knobs? We're not, fucking real human beings here or something?
No.
Fuck.
No, you're not.
We doing out of those opposable thumbs?
Yes. So here's a quote. We'll make sure...
How do you guys feel about the Alex show? Not to be confused with the Jim show. Completely separate entities. No idea. Presidential puppetry?
I don't even know what those shows are.
Me neither. We are the only talk show that we know about that does news. Nobody else does news, I don't think. I haven't seen another news channel on Twitter or Twitch ever.
I don't know why. I mean, you would think Twitch would be a good platform for it because it's live streaming, so you present the news as it happens and show it.
I don't know, man. I think the news is boring for people, man. I think that's what it is.
I mean, people watch Philip DeFranco. He reports on the news and he comments over it. And
yeah, but we're live. I mean, we don't have as good quality.
Yeah, we don't have the production value he does, nor does.
Well, yeah, we also don't have a team of people to do what his team.
Hair, makeup, lighting, cameras, the whole shebang. Yeah. Yeah, we certainly do not have that. Attorneys for Jean's family says the 2 witnesses told them the details that contradict Geiger's account. says they heard knocking down the hallway, followed by a woman's voice that they believed to be Officer Geiger saying, "Let me in, let me in," said attorney Lee Merritt. The family's attorney says one of the witnesses then heard gunshots, followed by a man's voice, what we believe to be the last words of Botham Jean, which were, "Oh my God, why did you do that?"
Get shot. Why did you do that? That would be me. Ow. Why? Why? Why did you shoot me? Fuck.
Yeah. Allison Jean wants to know what happened to her son. "I'm not satisfied that we have all the answers," Allison said. The Texas Rangers, who are leading an independent investigation, have been tight-lipped about the case. Jean's family attorney said he was unarmed, and they are expecting a large crowd for his funeral that's scheduled for today at a church in Richardson. With all the Texas Rangers involved, they're going to find something. Anyways, on to Trump news.
Did Dos Equis actually water everybody's fucking Cavalry College football field? What?
I don't know.
That'd be interesting. It's a definite thing. Hey you, what are you doing? What is that?
I didn't mean to click that, but whatever.
Good.
Apparently the Beetle is dead. And Volkswagen killed it.
Good. Fuck Volkswagens. Anyway. Trump says Puerto Rico death toll inflated by Democrats. 3,000 people did not die. Nigga, what? President Trump on Thursday accused Democrats without evidence of inflating the 3,000 person death count from last year's hurricanes in Puerto Rico in order to make me look bad. What?
Yes, that's our president, ladies and gentlemen.
This was last year. He's like that woman that you went out with the one time and just continues to bring it up. You're like, no, bitch. Anyway, the stunning accusation is Trump's latest attempt to defend his handling of natural disasters as Hurricane Florence bears down on southeastern U.S. In a pair of tweets, Trump disputed an independent report commissioned by Puerto Rico's government that raised the death toll from Hurricane Maria to 2975. There was a fucking FEMA counter that had the death counter, I'm pretty sure. It was a FEMA website, the one we went to and checked out live last year.
Did it have a death counter?
I thought it did. It had how many people were out of power, how many people
Yeah,
were
it had
injured.
all that.
I'm pretty sure it had how many people died.
Was that FEMA? I thought that was the Puerto Rican government.
Or maybe it was the Puerto Rican government. I think it was the Puerto Rican
I think it was
government.
the Puerto Rican.
Either way, it still existed.
Yeah.
What is it? 3,000 people did not die in the two hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico. When I left the island after the storm has hit, they had anywhere from 6 to 18 deaths. Well, yeah, because people were without power and the long-lasting effects of people dying off due to no power, no infrastructure,
sewage,
no
water,
nothing.
food. Yeah, it takes a while to get death tolls in. Also,
Especially
communication
with
is
so many
down,
things. Yep.
so you would know people died.
Yep. Trump tweeted, as time went by, it did not go up by much. But we covered the story of a fucking hospital that just people died in because there was no power.
Yeah, they were losing the net power. So.
Yep. Then a long time later, they stated to report really large numbers, like 3,000.
It's almost like Trump doesn't know how death
Trump
tolls
doesn't know
work,
how
and
anything
communication
works.
or how hurricane works, because he's been touting this, and I'll let you continue.
Anyway, the president said the number was manufactured by the Democrats.
Yes, the Democrats.
In order to make me look as bad as possible when I was successfully raising billions of dollars to help rebuild Puerto Rico. Did he help raise billions of dollars to help rebuild?
Also, I love how he says he raised billions of dollars. I mean,
I think he just used FEMA.
yeah.
If a person died for any reason, like old age, just add them onto the list. Bad politics. I love Puerto Rico, he added.
I love this. It's like, oh yeah, your grandma that died because she couldn't get food and water. She just died of old age. But I love you, Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rico. As he just was slamming them about not being real people. And
yeah, that's 3,000 people didn't die.
Anyway, as he prepares for Hurricane Florence, Trump has repeatedly argued that his response to Hurricane Maria was a success. Despite the record-high death toll, widespread devastation, and power outages and intense criticism from local officials. But he has also made several remarks claiming he has not received proper credit for his response to Maria at a time when Puerto Ricans have given him very low marks for his handling of the storm. A Washington Post Kaiser Family Foundation study showed 80% of the island residents disapprove of his response.
Well, no, this man... I'll let you finish.
Nonetheless, shut up. Trump has sought to convince Americans that his account of the hurricane response is correct. Oh, another quote. We got A pluses for our recent hurricane work in Texas and Florida, and did an unappreciated great job in Puerto Rico. Even though an inaccessible island with very poor electricity and a totally incompetent mayor of San Juan.
Oof, just hitting everybody.
We are ready for the big one that is coming, Trump tweeted on Wednesday. Ouch, dude. Like, first of all, did they get A pluses? If I remember correctly, Texans, the fucking Cajun Navy and shit helped out more than FEMA did. In fact, my homeboy's house, the guy who was at the corn meetup, his house still isn't getting paid for by FEMA. His fucking church gave him like a couple $100,000 or something. They paid for his house that he has to destroy. FEMA didn't pay shit. I'm like, did you apply for me? He's like, no. Fucking some other government entity already gave me, the army gave me money. Somebody already gave him money, but it still wasn't enough to cover his house.
Well, why didn't you go to FEMA?
So I told him.
Well, no. It's like FEMA's just not going to give him money if he doesn't apply. He still has to apply.
I don't know if he didn't apply or if they just didn't give him any. He's like, yeah, I applied a long time ago. They have never said anything.
I don't know, because like I applied, and they sent an investigator out and looked at the property and all that jazz. They didn't give us anything because it wasn't really damaged too much. But I mean, if he didn't ever see an investigator, then clearly he did something wrong or something wrong happened.
Pretty sure you have an investigator. Some of those. Oh, that's cool.
No. But the man's narcissism is just at an intense level in this story.
It's always an intense level.
It's always at an intense level, but it just magnifies at this. It's just like...
Hey, do we have the story in here where California politicians are like starting a petition or something, or starting a thing to get his Hollywood star removed from the Walk of Fame? Did you hear about that? My mom or somebody contacted me saying that the California whatever representatives or something are making a thing to get his shit removed from the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Well, the Hollywood Walk of Fame organization's an independent company. So, I mean, they'd have to petition that company. And, I mean, the company's under no rule bounds to do anything. But they can try.
Technically, couldn't the government come in and be like, law of eminent domain and just rip it up anyway?
I mean, I guess they could try.
I don't think they could try. I think they could. Saying it in August 7th.
Oh, West Hollywood.
That was in August. I guess there isn't a recent one.
Well, sort it by, like, this month.
How does one do that?
Tools? Anytime.
Past
week.
Just what did last week?
There you go. It returns to the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Apparently. Yep. Returns. Yeah, apparently that's what happened.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just like he is intensely trying to make believe that he is the most fantastic president ever, and that everything he does is amazing and perfect, and he can do no wrong, and he's really trying so extremely hard to be better than Bush. Because that's the thing. That's what his mentality is. It's like, if 3,000 people didn't die, if he believes that that only 46 people or 18 people died,
I'm better than Bush.
Then he's better than Bush, of which in Hurricane Katrina, like 1,200 people died. So that's his mentality. That's his like, I have to be the best. He has to be better than everybody. He is one-upsman. There's that like little on Dilbert. There's that one-upsman guy who's just like, everything, anything you can do, I can do better, and essentially.
Yeah.
And like that's Trump. He cannot, for whatever reason whatsoever, give up anything. He has to be the number one, the best. Speaking of Puerto Rico, photos of bottled water left on a Puerto Rico runway after Hurricane Maria. So a photographer working for a Puerto Rican police agency posted photos online Tuesday that he showed of a stockpile of bottled water on a runway in the city of Sevilla that had gone unused for about a year. So for a year, for over a million. Yes, literally, after the hurricane happened, 1 million bottles of water were sent and dropped on the runway, and they were just left there. They're unusable now.
I mean, you can still drink them.
No, you can't. Because they've been exposed to the sun, so the chemicals in the plastic bottles have leached into the water.
Might as well drink it anyway.
Well, they're not safe for human consumption.
Drink it anyway.
They're not safe for human consumption.
Drink it anyway. If you're dying, it's fine.
Well, I mean, nobody's dying in Puerto Rico anymore.
Not yet. Have you seen how many hurricanes are in the fucking waters at the moment?
I haven't.
A metric fuck ton. Let me just check real quick.
I know there's a hurricane going to hit the UK, and everybody's panicked about it. Yeah. So the water believed to be a part of relief efforts after Hurricane Maria.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then that.
Yeah, there's that Trump instance. I know Mom was saying there had a lot of rain there.
Yeah, the disturbance. They're thinking it might turn into a hurricane.
Tropical storm. Because it's a depression right now.
2-day cyclone. Yeah, so once it turns to a cyclone, it turns into a depression or a storm.
Mm-hmm.
Depression.
Yeah, depression.
I'm a tropical depression. Anyway.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yes, the bottles were provided by FEMA, and then
we got Isaac coming in down here. Hopefully it doesn't do that, but
no,
was there an Isaac recently?
I don't think so. They recycle the names every couple decades.
Oh, you know what? If it doesn't get turned into an actual hurricane, I think it loses the name. But there was Isaac before. Maybe it was Isaac spelled differently.
Maybe.
Isaac.
Could be. Yep. So the bottles were provided by FEMA and then turned over to the central government last year, according to CBS, who first reported on this revelation. The water was kept in an area that was pretty hard hit during the storm and could have used all the water they could have gotten, said CBS correspondent David Burgnod. The apparent bureaucratic breakdown comes as another looming natural disaster bears down on the U.S. mainland, with Hurricane Florence, a Category 4 storm, expected to hit the Carolinas and Virginias as early as Thursday, which they're projecting now it's going to hit Thursday morning, or Thursday evening, Friday morning, like 2 a.m. it's supposed to hit.
Basically tonight.
Yeah.
Like during or after this show.
Pretty much, probably right now.
Probably right now.
But with the potential for strong winds and a massive storm surge.
I kind of want to experience another hurricane.
They're saying that the waves are as high as 83 feet near the Carolinas.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird, because storm surge only goes up. It's only supposed to go up like 20, 30 feet.
No, they're saying 83 feet.
Nigga, what?
Yeah. They're saying like the
Carolinas never get hurricanes, do they?
No, it's extremely rare.
Rip, they're fucked.
Yeah. The waves they're getting 83 feet. But the flooding they expect is over 9-10 feet of flooding.
Well, yeah, okay. So when the waves are is that many feet over sea level? Because they go like 30 feet over sea level. That's the whole reason why if a Hurricane Cat 5 hits like Bay City area, it goes, like I said, that many feet over sea level. Bay City is at 50 feet above sea level, I think.
I thought we were 20.
Oh, yeah, we're at 20. So it's just like the wave will literally come in and shit on Bay City.
Well, provided that it's large enough and has the volume to reach Bay City.
No, when it's up that high, it will roll in. It will go towards Bay City for the most part. It shouldn't make it to Bay City, but I believe if it is that high, it'll make it to like Wadsworth or something like that. That's the whole thing of that storm surge. It being so big, it literally will suck away all the water from the Gulf and just
roll it.
Yeah, kind of like we saw in the pictures we saw. Like, that's cool, except if you're playing in that, you should really run.
Yes, very fast. That's for folks on the beach area, or if you're near a beach and you're vacationing. Word to the wise: if you're in the ocean or near the ocean and you see the water just recede rapidly, you run in the opposite direction and get as high as you can, because that means either an earthquake is happening, or a tsunami, or just devastation is about to...
Well, tsunami is a giant wave, so...
Yeah. Or devastation is just about to hit. And you gotta run, because you will be fucked up.
Yeah, but I think some of those places, it was... The water was getting out of there, like... They
only had moments.
No. But when they took the picture, the water was gone from there because it had moved somewhere else. Like, the waves had been... It sucked it all away and then shit on it with the hurricane. It was getting pushed somewhere else.
Still... Just in general, if you see that, just get to high ground. Anyways, well, that's all I have for that. On to our Tech-Sci entertainment. I wonder why you have different formatting over there.
What do you mean?
Well, I see, like, I have all that space and you have none over there.
Resolution.
I guess.
Resolution. That's what it boils down to. So, tech. Tech news. Alrighty. EU copyright directive vote Articles 18 and 13 approved. So this is what people were talking about. They're like, it doesn't matter. Article 13 is approved. We're fucked.
Yes.
So, the European Parliament has voted in favor of the copyright directive, a controversial piece of legislation intended to update online copyright laws for the internet age. The directive was originally rejected by MEPs in July, following criticism of two key provisions. Articles 11 and 13, dubbed the link tax and upload filter by critics. However, in Parliament this morning, an updated version of the directive was approved, along with amended versions of Articles 11 and Article 13. The final vote was 438 in favor and 226 against. The fallout from this decision will be far-reaching and take a long time to settle. The directive itself still faces a final vote in January 2019, although experts say it's unlikely it will be rejected. After that, it will need to be implemented by individual EU member states, who could very significantly, in how they choose to interpret the directive's text. The most important parts of this are Articles 11 and 13. Again, Article 11 is intended to give publishers and papers a way to make money when companies like Google link to their stores, allowing them to demand paid licenses. Article 13 requires certain platforms like YouTube and Facebook to stop users sharing unlicensed copyrighted material.
So, folks,
hold on, I'm not finished yet. I have to be more posh. Article 11 info. No, okay, you can go.
So, Article 13 is pretty damn bad. So, Article 13...
Can you let me, do it?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because, I mean, if I keep reading, it'll be right there.
Okay.
I was like, hold on, before you do this. Anyway, Article 11 info. What worries smaller news websites and blogs that they rely on traffic from news aggregators and search engines is that Google and its peers could simply refuse to pay and stop carrying news. That's what happened in Spain when the government passed a similar law a few years ago. Google shut down Google News there in response. That hasn't been such a problem for large newspaper and magazine publishers because readers simply go directly to their websites, but critics say that for smaller, less-known brands, it has been more of a challenge. Germany passed a similar, albeit weaker law a few years ago. Google rendered the legislation all but meaningless, however, by only carrying the news of those publishers who agreed to be featured on its site for free. Those who initially refused suffered steep declines in traffic and subsequently relented. The issue is now tied up in the German courts, where a consortium of publishers is suing Google.
You know, that's the interesting thing about it, is that, well, that's just what they do. They would either shut it down, or they'd make it to only where the free news would allow them to be published. Because you got to consider is that the smaller websites like they're talking about, the aggregator benefits them the most because they don't have the advertising budget to go out there and buy ads, and they don't have the brand recognition to just be known.
It's like, so, you know, I can get into this subject because of my family's newspaper. Mm-hmm. They, you know, for a while they didn't have the correct Google AdWords stuff like that. I mean, when I called them later, that IT guy, the people they pay like $500 a month to manage the site, I'm like, they're paying you how much money? You can't even fucking do the simplest thing and get on a Google search on the first page? Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck are we paying you for? Mm-hmm. Anyway, but I mean, you know, they manage all that stuff, and it's managed through Associated Press, which I figured would be better. But it's like, if the same thing happened in America, which I doubt it would, you know, free speech and all that, but it would, you know, destroy them, because then, you know, if the big people fucked it up for people like, again, small newspapers like my mom's, who only runs weekly, and they get a decent amount of money, but not a lot. They don't advertise anywhere. They advertise locally in the city, kind of, but like, they don't really advertise on news sites, because why the fuck would they? Who the fuck wants to go to the Houston Chronicle and read about Bay City? Like, stuff like that. I don't even know if they use Google AdSense or anything. I don't think they do.
Yeah, but they do show up on Google News, the aggregate.
My family's?
Yeah, your paper. So is the Tribune.
Really?
Well, yeah, because that's how it works. That, you know, Google goes out there. They have these you know, the robots, the web crawlers.
Oh yeah, the web crawlers. We have our own TI web crawlers as well. We have our own, like, legitimately our own in-house web crawlers.
Cool.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Not that I know what that does or, like, why they exist. My friend, he was, like, looking at our service, like, fucking Google web crawler. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, we have like 3 of our own in-house. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll go out there and crawl the websites and then show the news.
Yeah.
But if this goes through, that robot won't be licensed by the news site, so then they just won't show up. I mean, for your family, they'd probably just say, hey, we'll do it for free, just scan our website.
I mean, like we talked about, and my family's stopped doing that. Most of our shit's posted for free.
Yeah, I mean, on your website, yeah, so it's where it gets it. Because I know when I look up stories for, like, Bay City, what's going on, I go to Google News, and it shows up in Google News. And that's what a lot of small publishers would do, is that they just be like, look, we don't care about what Google News, because the thing is about, like,
My mom doesn't even know what happens, to be honest.
Hmm?
My mom doesn't even know what happens. I didn't even know what happens, to be fair.
Yeah, well, it's just automated processes.
Well, no, but I mean, like, I don't use Google News, so I didn't even know about any of this, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't do news, so that's to be fair.
Yeah, but I mean, it really benefits the small companies. You know, there's the big companies.
They get visibility.
Yeah, they get visibility. And that's the thing, like this, you know, this Article 11, if it goes through in January, which it's likely to go through, it's only going to hurt, well, the big people. Because if the small people are on the aggregators, then they get shown up. You know, people who's like, I didn't even know there was that news site. Well, I saw it on Google News, and now I'm reading the news on there. And that's also another thing, is that a lot of news sites, they either give you a limited number of articles, they only give you like a certain like blurb, like the first like half paragraph. They just give you like a couple sentences, and you have to sign in or log in or pay for it. So there's at no point where a news aggregator doesn't benefit those sites. Because it's not like people are reading the entire story. If you're forcing them to pay for it, they're never going to pay for it. So, you know? It's like with the Tribune. I hate the damn Tribune. I never go to the damn website because every fucking story's you get literally one sentence, and then it's like, then you have to pay for the rest. And I'm like, I don't give a shit about the news that much to pay for your damn paper.
That's the thing. It's like, I don't care about the news enough to even go read it off the website. It's like, meh.
Anyways.
Just because of me. I don't even read our newspapers, and I could probably get a digital subscription for free. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, Article 13, they say, is even worse. The legislation requires that platforms proactively work with rights holders, which you combine the words together, or they did, to stop users uploading copyright content. The only way to do so would be to scan all data being uploaded to sites like YouTube and Facebook. This would create an incredible burden for small platforms and can be used as a mechanism for widespread censorship. This is why figures like Wikipedia founder Jimmy Wales and World Wide Web inventor Tim Berners-Lee came out so strongly.
Sir Tim Berners-Lee.
Is he Sir Tim Berners-Lee?
Yep, he's a Knight of the Realm for England.
Out of so strongly against the directive. Despite these disagreements, what's clear is that the copyright directive receives final approval by the European Parliament in January. It will have a huge disruptive impact on the internet, both in the European Union and around the world. Exactly how the legislation will be interpreted will be up to individual nations, but the shift in the balance of power is clear. The web's biggest tech companies are losing their grip on the internet. I hope you like the reading in David's posh voice. Anyway, wouldn't we technically be going against that whenever we read shit from, like, The Guardian or something?
Against which one? Article 11 or 13?
13.
No, we'd be fine against Article 13. However, memes...
Would we be fine against Article 13 if we re-upload this to YouTube like we always do?
Yeah. It's our content we're producing.
Yeah,
we're commenting.
well, I already get fucking copyright strikes from everything anyway. Fuck.
Yeah, and I mean, we're commenting over the articles. We are producing new, original content that doesn't exist.
You hear that, YouTube? Fuck you guys.
Sure. Fuck you, YouTube.
Well, I mean, like, we do this, and I get so many copyright strikes, it's insane. You know what's funny? You know how many copyright strikes the fucking so that they finally went back and, like, retconned one of the singing videos? holy shit, I got like 20 emails about copyright strikes from that. But all of them are just like, but your video will still play. It'll just have ads over it. I wonder how many ads are on it because of all the
Just
songs.
every 2 seconds, just ad.
It's gotta be like every couple of minutes. Like every time a song changes, it's gotta have another ad.
Yeah.
Anyway. But there
Yeah,
we go.
but I mean, so, Europeans, this goes through. Memes are illegal there. Parodies would be illegal there. Fucking, singing, like songs and music or, whatever, illegal. Cover albums, I mean. Yeah, lots of shit would soon be illegal under these terms. So, yeah, sucks to be European right now, because your internet freedom is about to be severely curtailed.
I think I'm turning not internet freedom. Like I'm turning not internet freedom.
We're just gonna have to mail Europeans illegal memes.
There will literally be meme salesmen.
So EA reportedly under criminal investigation in Belgium due to FIFA's loot boxes. So the Belgian government, which declared loot boxes to be a form of gambling earlier this year, has reportedly launched a criminal investigation into EA after the publisher refused to modify EA's randomized card pack loot boxes in order to comply with the country's gambling laws. Back in April, Belgium's Gaming Commission determined that loot boxes found in FIFA 18, Overwatch, and Counter-Strike Go were an illegal game of chance and thus subjected them to Belgian gambling laws. Failure to adhere to these laws, which include ensuring that minors are unable to access the gambling elements within a game, are illegal.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
Well, if you just get it out of the game, that's
the only thing you can do. But that's not how things work. That's not how free to play and continuing like payment games work anymore.
Well, part of the problem, and this is just more of a criticism on a lot of the AAA developers, is that
it's not just AAA developers. It started really.
No.
It all started with like League of Legends. League of Legends became the biggest person. They're free to play. They made more money than some of them.
No. It started in mobile with the freemium games. Let's get this history right. So first, it started in mobile with freemium games that were free, and then you could spend a couple bucks and buy coins or power-ups or whatever, and people were fine because it was a free game, and it was shitty that they did this, of course, but it was free.
They made games to the point where you can't continue on past a certain point without buying shit.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I don't agree with it, but it's a free game, and that's like part of the platform of freemium. Also, the entire green screen's fucked up now.
Is it?
Yeah, and you bump the camera.
That's fine.
So that was all. I mean, I didn't like it, but I could understand.
Fixed.
Yeah, because of just the nature of mobile and free, and people willingness to buy into it.
But League of Legends existed before. League of Legends
before
existed.
mobile gaming.
League of Legends actually existed before the freemium mobile gaming craze. League of Legends was the free-to-play game that made everybody realize they could go free-to-play and make a shit ton of money.
No. But that's not the problem here. That's not the problem.
That is part of the problem.
No. That's not the problem. You're missing.
There's not the problem here, but it is part of the problem.
Yeah, no. It's definitely a problem, but it's not part of this problem.
No.
So this problem is.
Also, some of these loot boxes, you can buy them with regular money, but they're earned in-game. Like Overwatch stuff, you get a loot crate just by playing a game a day. Or just by leveling up, or just by existing. You can buy some more, but that's on you.
No, but that's the deal. That's the racket. It's like a drug dealer. You get your first hit for free, and then you're hooked. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you can continue getting it at a reasonable rate.
But it's like Fortnite, Fortnite's free. And then, you get some things, and then they tell you, well, if you were a premium member of Fortnite, you could get all of these things.
You get the cool shit.
Yeah.
But all of these games it's a time and effort thing. So, like, this is a part of the problem. The games, realistically, these days suck. There's no reason to play them other than systems like this where, like, I want to get that character skin or I want to get that thing, but I don't want to pay for it. So you grind the shit out of it for the time.
Yeah, but here's a bigger issue. Is that with these AAA games, like I'm not even talking about free games, free-to-play games, those are a whole different subject. I'm talking about FIFA, Overwatch, Counter-Strike, these are AAA games that people have paid money for to play these games, And still, you spend $60 of your hard-earned money to buy these games, and then they come out with these freemium bullshit tactics to try and get you to play more.
That's fine. No. As long as you get as long as you get the whole game unlocked, like Overwatch is the whole game. You get the whole game. You just don't get costumes. That's it. That's all you don't get is costumes.
But I'm talking about. But the thing is, they've changed the algorithms or something. Like in
FIFA, I think is different. FIFA, I think you need characters or something. It does something.
Yeah, it helps you. But yeah, in FIFA, you get characters, you get better players.
So that's one of the things that has to be separated or differentiated is cosmetic stuff. Even CS:GO is all cosmetic.
No.
Actually, no, CS:GO has some guns, but it's mostly cosmetic.
No, but even in Star Wars. In Star Wars, like the
Battlefront,
Battlefront,
the card packs are what you need to do anything.
Yeah, you need them, but they changed the algorithms because before, in the earlier versions of Star Wars, whatever the previous one was, you could get these particular players, and it took you X amount of time. But in the new version that included the card packs, that time that it took in the previous game to unlock those characters to now took like 3 times as long. Mm-hmm. So they increased the amount of time you had to grind to get these characters, or before you could get them through just playing the game and doing it normally. But no, now you have to grind and spend hours and hours and hours to try and unlock these characters. Or you just spend the $5-10 bucks.
It's not a new tactic, though.
No.
They did that with Battlefield. It's DICE. No. DICE did it with Battlefield, and I'm one of the people that never paid money for Battlefield. So I grinded out the fucking weapons, my goddamn self. I picked the class, played the weapons. But then they had these battle packs where it's like, you pay $5, you can get all of this class's fucking guns unlocked. And I'm like, that's cool, but fuck you.
No, I get that. But I'm still just saying is that, they changed how it worked to make you, to force you to put in 3 times the effort. Because literally, to unlock Darth Vader, you would have had to put in, I think they said 100 hours worth of effort to unlock just Darth Vader, just one character. Not a bunch of characters, one.
But I want to say on top of that is still the whole replay value of the game. The game will get boring if you don't have a target or something to work for.
Well, I know, I get that. But I'm just saying is that they've made you work harder. They made you work 3 times as hard.
Yeah, to make up for the fact their game sucks. There's a lot of things that go into this.
But they did that so that way they could make you pay. Because you could spend the 100 hours.
But there are people like me that will never pay.
There are. But more people aren't like you. More people who play games, a lot of people who play games, they're like, I'm tired after work. I spent all this time working. I just want to play this game, and I just want to play as this character.
To be fair,
I don't have 100 hours to grind out, a night to do this. So I'm just going to pay the money and get the character.
To be fair, I did the same thing with MechWarrior Online. I played MechWarrior Online, grinded for fucking a half a year, and then one day when I was like, man, I have a shit ton of money, and bought a bunch of mechs, and then kept playing, and now they're my go-to mech packs because I bought them all. I've never enjoyed the game more in my life. But during the time of grinding, I was like, man, I really fucking hate this game. I bought this mech a long time ago when the game first started. It's a giant pile of shit. But now I'm stuck to this pile of shit for so fucking long. It's enraging. And I would literally quit the game and stop playing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people just...
But that was the worst part. Because that was a free-to-play game. And that was the worst case I've ever seen of that. World of Tanks used to do the same. World of Tanks got a lot better. They should adopt the World of Tanks way. It used to cost a ton of real-life money to do anything in World of Tanks. But they finally tweaked their algorithm to where even if you're shitty, you can still make it and keep playing and enjoy yourself.
Well, that's the thing, is that, if I'm paying...
Some of the things take time. That's a free-to-play game that's done it better.
Yeah, but these are $60 AAA games.
First of all, some of these games aren't even worth $60. First of all, Battlefield isn't worth $60. Battlefront 2
none of the FIFAs are worth $60.
No, Battlefront wasn't worth $60 because it was all multiplayer until Battlefront 2... Did it have single player? I think it had single player, multiplayer. It's kind of like Titanfall. None of that stuff was ever worth $60. Titanfall 2, however, is a very good game, has a real single player campaign, and is worth every penny. I recommend people buy Titanfall 2 and play the shit out. It's a good game. Anyway, but there are games, a lot of games that are multiplayer strictly, like Battlefield 1. Oh my god. I can't grind in that fucking game to save my life. It's the same thing. I can't unlock weapons because they changed the way the unlock token system thing works. It's not even you play a class, get XP, and do stuff. It's you do shit, you have to earn medals to get tokens, and they have to spend tokens on random boxes to get random fucking guns. Mm-hmm. That's the same system we're talking about. That's complete bullshit.
And that's the thing.
You can spend some unlock tokens or whatever. Or no. This is what you do. You have to use the tokens to unlock a box to get war bonds, which is the money that you use to buy any weapon you want, or it also gives you a weapon.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Which is still bullshit.
No, and that's the thing. So if I'm playing FIFA, which I never would, but I'm just using it as an example.
If I'm Josh.
And I see it's like, I need Ronaldo, whoever the hell the big soccer player is, and I need to unlock him.
Pick the soccer player that is on the ground 20% of the game.
Yeah,
90% of the game. The one dude from Spain? I think it was Spain.
Yeah.
Portugal. It's Portugal. I think so. I don't know.
But it's like, I want this character and I want to unlock him. Used to be in the past, you know what you had to do? You work for it a bit. It's like things unlock as you progressed in the story, in the game. Like as you went through, because a lot of games have story mode, and I'm pretty sure that FIFA does as well, where you start as a character and you go out. So it's like as you go through the story
it's not
mode,
a character, it's you start out as a team or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You go
Shitty
through
sports games
and you play as your team, your characters, whatever, and then as you progress, you unlock newer, advanced, better characters. That's how things should work. You gain money that you don't have to pay for. You gain, experience, whatever it is. You didn't have to buy anything. If you pay $60 for a game, there should never be an element where I have to go out there and buy a player to make my game experience better. For the whole cosmetic things, whatever. Cosmetics, I give them a bit of a pass.
I don't understand why Overwatch is in this list, because Overwatch is all purely cosmetic.
I think it's just because it's still how the particular wording is of the law.
And it's because it's a random box, which is the reason why it's
for cosmetics. I still don't like it, but I give it a bit more of a pass. But I'm just saying
it's not really game relevant.
But I'm just saying, whenever there's things that are game relevant, when there's characters and people, you should never have to buy those things. You should never be forced to spend fucking US dollars or whatever your currency is to buy fucking coins, to buy the goddamn players or whatever. You should just be able to get it due to the fact that you're playing the goddamn game. None of this grinding bullshit. Yeah, sure, you gotta work for it. Sure.
Tell that to Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six Siege is the worst of that. You have to grind to get all the characters unless you buy the season passes.
Okay, I'll go tell it to whoever the hell. It's the principle of the matter. I'm just saying. Anyways, back to this damn story.
As we get fucking lit on a topic.
Yes. So, following the ruling, Blizzard, Valve, and 2K Games all elected to disable loot boxes in their games in Belgium.
They do have separate servers completely in Europe, so the American side will never see any of this useful shit.
EA, however, has done nothing.
Of course.
And as a result, it is now the subject of a criminal investigation in Brussels by the Public Prosecutor's Office.
And, I feel like they should just pull their game from Germany.
Brussels.
Or Belgium, rather.
Yes.
Just fucking, who gives a shit about Belgium at this point? They're gonna have to sneak, the UK is just gonna, fucking put so many laws in place that people are just gonna go, yo, man, you got that new FIFA? I need to play that FIFA. I need to show everybody in the world that Belgium should have won the World Cup.
Yeah.
Belgium was actually pretty high up there. They were in the 70s, I believe.
Yes. So Belgium's government's gaming commission considers loot boxes to be a game of chance because players don't know exactly which items in a box and which items a box may contain when purchasing it, which is fair.
Which is true.
Because some
of them show some of the things, but then you also get random other shit.
Yeah. Because again, if I go back to the FIFA example, and you have to go buy a stupid box or whatever. And it's like, oh, well, you could get Ronaldo, or you could get some scrub tier from fucking America. Just and then, you keep getting boxes, and you got 3 of that scrub tier from America, but not one Ronaldo. And it's like, you're spending all this money, and your intention is to get Ronaldo, because you can't get him any other way. Well, you're never going to get Ronaldo. EA, however, states otherwise, stating in April that its games were developed and implemented ethically. Ethics. Right, EA. We go for you for ethics. This has come up a couple times today.
I have no ethics, so I have no room to talk. But still.
And lawfully around the world. And it did not agree with that games could be considered any form of gambling.
I love that. We did not agree that this could be any form of gambling. I guess that's true. Is that how that works? I do not agree that this is any form of gambling.
So how they're arguing it is that the Belgium Gaming Commission...
First of all, that Belgium Gaming Commission is for, not actual video games. It's for
gambling.
It's for gambling.
Yeah, that's their job, is to regulate gambling, and
and video games have never actually before come up in gambling. To be fair,
until now, apparently, with these loot boxes. Yeah, and they're saying that this is just the Gaming Commission's interpretation of the law, which is kind of funny considering it's this organization's, job to regulate gambling. Their interpretation of the law is pretty much the law.
Yes.
You know.
Anyway, on to much sadder news. U.S. actor Gene Wilder, remembered by many for his lead role in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Not the most recent one, but...
Well, no, it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory versus Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes. Sure. Okay, whatever. Has died at the age of 83. He's old as fuck, so, it's fine. His family has confirmed. The comic actor, who also starred in classic films such as The Producer, Blazing Saddles, and Young Frankenstein. Wilder frequently collaborated with writer and director Mel Brooks, as well as stand-up comedian Richard Pryor. The actor died on Sunday in Stamford, Connecticut, due to complications from Alzheimer's disease, his family said. Man, the crazy guy from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was actually legitimately crazy. In the end, at least. I found it kind of funny.
Alzheimer's makes you forget.
Yeah, it's a kind of, it's not insanity, but it's dementia, which is a mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sub-classification of dementia. Anyway, Wilder first made waves on Broadway before transitioning to the silver screen for a brief role as a kidnapped undertaker in Bonnie and Clyde. In 1971, he took on the role of his most beloved characters, Willy Wonka, in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
It's crazy that was put out over 40 years ago, and it is still a classic around the world.
Yep. Wilder's other well-known roles include the Wacko Kid in the 1974 cult classic Blazing Saddles, and Dr. Ross in Woody Allen's 1972 film Everything You Want to Know About Sex, But We're Afraid to Ask. Nice.
Yep. So, mushrooms. Actually a good thing. Mushrooms could solve the war on plastics.
Magic mushrooms or just mushrooms in general?
Just mushrooms. Fungi.
Damn.
Yep. The first ever report on the state of the world's fungi has revealed that if the natural properties of fungus can be harnessed and developed, plastics could be broken down naturally in weeks rather than years.
I'm kind of scared because fungi breaks down shit. So if we can break down plastic with fungi, what else will it break down faster than it's supposed to? Anybody think about that part?
I mean, what do you mean?
Plastic takes forever to break down.
Well, yeah.
Things that naturally break down by fungus in a normal amount of time, would they also progress faster?
I guess it depends on the particular...
That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, it depends on the particular fungi and the particular material.
Yeah, and it depends on how they use this. Can you spray it on somebody and just make them poof?
No,
not literally. That's not literally, but like...
Well, I mean, it says here that the particular fungus itself is just dissolves plastic.
Just plastic?
I mean, yeah. I mean, there are other fungus who probably work on biological material. I mean, hell, that's probably most fungus.
That is actually
we
most
are
fungus.
human. We are biological material. Like, some fungus could fuck us up after we're dead, of course.
It also fuck you up while you're alive.
Fuck us up while we're alive, depending on what it is.
And then we go to... What's that game? The PS4 game, the big one.
Oh, you're talking about Last of
Us.
Us, yeah. Yes, with the mycelium that can control ants and things. Which is a real thing. Yep, it can really control ants, and it's very scary looking. So last year, a team of Chinese scientists in a landfill in Pakistan found Aspergillus tuberculosis. Genesis, yeah. Breaks down bonds between plastic molecules and then splits them using mycelia. The process takes a matter of weeks rather than decades it usually requires for plastics to naturally degrade. So
disintegrate. Not degrade, disintegrate.
Disintegrate. But this is good news for plastics.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just imagine if we actually did recycling properly, you just throw it in the heap with all the other, with all the other fungus breaking down more plastic, and it'll fucking dissolve plastic. This is huge.
But we still want to recycle and reuse it.
No, absolutely. We still want to recycle it, but I mean, just imagine.
We could just throw it into all of the landfills and just clean up the landfills. Because nobody's going to go through fucking landfills and sort through the fucking... Actually, that's one of the things we should have an initiative of, sorting through landfills for recyclables. Sure, it'll take lots of money and effort, but there's no real profit other than the fact that we're saving the fucking planet.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Planet!
Yeah. So this could revolutionize how we handle...
Heart. Fucking the most triggering power ever.
Yeah. But this could revolutionize how we handle plastic garbages, plastic trash. Because, I mean, if this can get rid of it within weeks versus years, I mean, this changes. This is a big deal for sure. And it says
is the fungus poisonous, though?
You don't know.
To people.
I guess we can Google this. This is incredibly exciting because it's a big environmental challenge. If this can be the solution, that would be great. We're in the early days of research, but I would hope to see the benefits of fungi that can eat plastics in 5 to 10 years. Around 2000...
You've skipped a lot of this.
Did I? No, I didn't.
You didn't even go through that
Oh,
part.
where the hell? No.
Where the fuck did you start speaking at?
This
You
one
were
right
all
here.
the way down at the end.
No, I started speaking there.
No, dude, you were down here. It says that we are in the early days.
Yeah, but no, yeah.
You didn't start. You missed the cues. That you missed
Yeah.
all of those.
No. I just missed that first bullet.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did. Which
So
is a
Kew
good
Gardens,
one.
a team of over 100 scientists from 18 countries have compiled papers which show how different organisms can decompose plastics, clean up radioactive materials, and even speed up the production of biodiesel.
Those are all very.
That's pretty damn
important
cool.
things. Yeah. Actually, clean up radioactive material. That's an interesting one because that's another one of those things that stays in the earth forever. That our current way of disposing of like fuel rods is throwing them in a decom site.
Pretty much. Which, funnily enough, and I was reading about this, I don't know whether we've talked about it. I think we did.
What? The
About
Baxter facility?
No. The big super disposal site in Utah.
No, but there's a Baxter facility outside of Austin. I know that.
Yeah. So,
Which is the same thing. Actually, Baxter handled the decommissioning of the nukes.
This one is permanent. This particular site in Utah or Nevada.
They're
it's
all
Nevada.
permanent.
No. They're not. They are not all permanent.
They're mostly permanent.
No.
The Baxter facility put them in fucking giant canisters and vacuum sealed them hermetically underground for many years.
It's not permanent. No site in the nation currently is officially recognized for the long-term storage of high-energy radioactive
because they
materials.
can't.
There's only one site in the nation.
The fucking Mormons. No.
There is some sort of, I don't remember the name of it, but it's in Nevada, and it is the only registered site by the Department of Energy, which is fully up to spec to store high-energy radioactive materials. However, the great senator of Nevada, Harry Reid, lobbied in Congress to actually stop that facility from going through. So, because we have been looking for decades, literally since the 60s, we have been looking for a site in the United States where we could store high energy radioactive material.
Mm.
And we found the Yucca Mountain facility.
Yucca plants!
Yucca plants. In Nevada is the one place in the country where we're supposed to be storing them. But Harry Reid got it shut down, which is insane. And it was set. It's this is the only place in the country where you can store high energy radioactive materials. And you know what he said? So he said whenever he was fighting against this facility, he said, you know what they should do? They should just leave the radioactive material where it is. Not really understanding that
That's bad.
where it is, none of those places are designed for long-term storage.
Yeah.
Because right now they're storing them at for where we're from, STP. So they're storing them on site at STP in their cooling tanks. But that's not permanent. That was never meant to be permanent. That was a temporary solution until they find a place to permanently store them. And
Don't they get shipped out of STP?
yeah, they get shipped to certain locations, but again, as I'm saying, there's no locations that's set for permanent storage.
Right.
This was the one location in the country that is set for permanent storage of this kind of material.
Yeah, because it
it's-
has to be ultra prepared.
It has to
be dug out.
Dug out deep with no
super-
fault lines anywhere within such a huge radius. It has to be far away from population
ultra
centers.
leaded, hardened walls.
I mean, it has to go extremely deep.
Yep.
I mean, the finding this facility was a miracle. But the fact that we're not allowed to continue it because of fucking lobbying by the goddamn senator is insane. He's literally stopping progress on some of America's most dangerous and deadly materials and their permanent storage. Because, like, nuclear materials last a very long time. Hundreds of thousands of years.
Also, they're not very radioactive. They only become radioactive during their half-life, like when they split. But still, they're mildly radioactive. Like, they're not radioactive to the point of they're going to cause you harm.
Oh, yes, they are.
Not like spent fuel rods and stuff. They're not.
Yeah,
supposed to.
they will. Yeah.
Not until they are used where most of their energy is gone, and they can actually sit as a used spent fuel rod. They sit in that state for I believe it's a few years before they actually like increase the amount of radiation they give off due to the splitting of their radioactive half-life. I believe so.
Yes, I said their spent fuel rods are still highly radioactive and continue to generate significant amount of heat for decades. Goddamn, decades of heat. The fuel assemblies, which consist of dozens to hundreds of fuel rods each, are moved to pools of water to cool. They're kept on racks in the pool, submerged in more than 20 feet of water. The water is continually circulated to draw away heat from the rods to keep them at safe temperature. Because no permanent repository for spent fuel exists in the United States, reactor owners have kept spent fuel at the reactor sites. As the amount of spent fuel has increased, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has authorized many power plant owners to increase the storage pools to as much as 5 times as what they were designed to originally hold. As a result, virtually all U.S. spent fuel rods have been re-racked to hold spent fuel assemblies at densities that are approaching those in the reactor core. And in order to prevent the spent fuel from going critical, the spent fuel rod assemblies are placed in metal boxes whose walls contain neutron-absorbing boron. So, and it says here, if a natural disaster or terrorist attack occurs, causing the water to leak from the pool, or the cooling system to stop working, the rods will begin to heat the remaining water in the pool, eventually causing it to boil and evaporate. But basically, nuclear runaway.
It's a nuclear takeoff. It would be a meltdown.
Yeah,
but it will actually still melt the fucking facility.
Yeah, it'll melt everything. If the water leaks, it boils away, it cannot be replenished. Once the fuel is uncovered, it can become hot enough to cause the metal cladding encasing the uranium fuel to rupture, catch fire, which in turn heats up the other fuel, causing it to catch fire.
Literally a nuclear explosion. It's not a nuclear explosion, it's just an explosion.
Just a nuclear meltdown. So
also, which releases nuclear dust and stuff into the air.
So that's what I'm saying, is that we really need the Yucca facility because this...
from our topic earlier from last night, we were talking about like the end of the world. That's going to happen.
This would absolutely happen.
Yeah, like if not only on top of the nuclear winter, where else going to have that?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That. Fucking that. 100% of that.
And the thing is that won't necessarily happen instantly because power plants, and I know nuclear plants, are designed to, like, if they lose power to the grid, they keep running, but in a lower power state, enough to power themselves.
I think they go critical still within, if their backup generators or anything run out of gas, they go critical
they can.
Fairly quick.
But they can still, once they stop being able to power themselves, then they'll go critical. But it will still...
It doesn't take them that long. STP, in theory, if the hurricane hit, STP might have had a problem. It might have had a problem. Like, that was talked about. That was seriously talked about. That was the biggest concern from everybody at STP. That's why STP stopped whatever the fuck they were doing, and all the engineers spent cycles on weather forecasts. Because of that. Because that is a problem. However, our reactors are more structurally stable than the stuff at Fukushima because they're designed. The same exact design.
Yeah, no, it's the same. Yeah,
it's the 100% same design. But there have been, I think they had their update or something a few years ago.
Yeah. But also the unfortunate thing about Fukushima is that it was hit by an earthquake and a tsunami. So the earthquake, they could have survived one individually, but the fact that both of them hit together, because it was already damaged by the earthquake and then the tsunami hit, and that just caused further damage, that was the real problem. It's unfortunate, because it could have survived either one, but not together.
Yeah.
So, like I said, folks, we need a permanent long-term storage solution. Well, we need to do the long-term storage solution for the nuclear weapons.
Or we need to find a way to just break down the nuclear material safely.
No, I don't think there is a real way.
There should be a way. You just throw it in the bombs. It's fine.
We don't need bombs. We're not supposed to be producing bombs.
Shh, don't tell the government that.
Also, uranium used for nuclear power is a lot lower purity. Because the purity needed for nuclear power is like 3 to 5%. But the purity needed for nuclear bombs is like 97%.
I thought it's different. It's not. They're different materials, actually. Like they're different elements, I believe. Because a byproduct of nuclear enrichment is the fuel. Is fuel that can be used in nuclear power plants. Nuclear enrichment makes power plant fuel, but either the byproduct is either stuff that could be used as weapons grade, like plutonium or whatever, or uranium, or the byproduct is fuel rods. One of the two has a byproduct of the other.
Well, no, I don't think it's a byproduct. I think that's the intention.
Well, the intention is to make fuel rods or to re-enrich, fuel rods or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But as a byproduct of doing so, you make weapons grade, like yellow cake grade uranium or whatever the fuck it is.
Maybe. I don't think yellow cake's weapons grade. I think it's just more for dirty bombs.
That's a weapon.
Oh, it's a weapon, yeah.
And it does, megatons of damage. A yellow cake uranium, a dirty bomb can do big boom.
Well, no, a dirty bomb isn't supposed to be a nuclear blast. Dirty bomb is to spread nuclear material in an area, poisoning the area.
Is it?
Yeah, that's why it's called a dirty bomb. It's because it's supposed to. The intention is to spread the radioactive material, not to necessarily.
We'll look into bombs afterwards.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the stories.
Not back to reality.
Because we keep going off, and yeah, so plastic eating fungi. It should be pretty interesting to see, and I hope this starts getting use elsewhere. On to tragedy.
You didn't even finish the story. Whatever. All right. Wikipedia leads effort to create a digital archive of 20 million artifacts lost in the Brazilian museum fire. Open culture. There's a picture here, apparently.
Yes, can we show that to the folks?
Do we want to show that? I don't want to show it. How does we show? I don't have one for showing the thing. Do we have a thing here? One of these will do this. It is this one. This one. This one. This one.
This one.
This one. It is none of these. Alright, so apparently it is none of these. None of these will show the thing. Probably because the browser window's not selected. It's not. Lock app!
Goddamn lock app.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Why is it not showing?
Probably because hardware acceleration, so there's nothing you can do, because you'd have to restart the browser. Okay, whatever. Well, you just won't show it.
It's fine. Tabletop
Which is unfortunate, because I have some other pictures I need to show. Is there, Mozilla installed on here?
No. I don't know. I thought I turned hardware acceleration off on this bitch.
I don't know.
I didn't remember. Oh, I had to turn it off of Discord. Hardware acceleration is stupid. That it does that for OBS. It's fucking retarded.
It's probably OBS's fault.
Yeah. Anyway, the staggering loss of a possible 20 million artifacts in the fire that consumed Brazil's Museum Museu Nacional in Rio boggles the mind. Dinosaur fossils, the oldest human remains found in the country, and as Emily Dreyfus reports at Wired, audio recordings and documents of indigenous languages, many of those languages already extinct, may now be lost forever. Former Brazilian Environment Minister called the destruction of Latin America's biggest natural history museum a lobotomy of the Brazilian memory. What happened here exactly?
So the Brazil's Museu Nacional burned down. It caught fire, and it didn't have a sprinkler system or any kind of it didn't even have fire hydrants near the museum.
That's their fault.
Well, yeah, it was just poor structure and such. But yeah, so they lost hundreds and thousands of years of cultural history and artifacts and things that are irrecoverable. Because it was pretty much the big museum for fucking South America.
Yeah, totally.
You're thinking to get this, aren't you? Because it looks freaking useful.
No.
It looks kind of useful.
It looks kind of useful, but no. I'll just go to IKEA and just have them yell at me, "Hinga-dinga-durgan," and fucking buy this shit that's good.
Does it work on dirty dishes too?
Does it work on what?
Dirty dishes
Yeah,
too.
because those are clean dishes. Good point. The incalculable loss of culture and history seems all more tragic, given that it might have been slowed or stopped, but for the government cuts that left the museum with crumbling infrastructure and without a sprinkler system or even for water for the hydrants outside. So it had hydrants, but didn't have water for it. Firefighters had to get water from a nearby lake. But assigning blame while necessary to prevent future catastrophes will not restore the museum's treasure or the many years of research its staff lost when their offices went up in flames. Sadly, as Dreyfus points out, like many museums around the world, the Musée National had not begun to back up its collection digitally. That's their fault. But it may not be entirely too late for that, in some small part at least. In an announcement last week, Wikipedia called for a post-facto crowdsourced backup in the form of user-submitted photos. Oh shit, son. Thousands of images have already been uploaded. Reports Brazil's O Globo, few of them contain any identifying information, and it will fall to scholars and knowledgeable Wikipedia editors to provide it. Other institutions around the world are also responding. National Geographic, UNESCO, and the French government have also support for restoring the museum and reconstructing its collection. It may rise from the ashes, but most of the museum's former contents will only exist through the photographic documentation of its many thousands of visitors.
Yes, for the folks at home who've ever visited Brazil's National Museu Nacional, please upload your videos and pictures to Wikipedia so that way they can rebuild after this tragedy. Anyway, where were we?
South African cave drawing.
Yes, thank you. Yes, archaeologists have found the world's oldest known drawing in a South African cave. Some 73,000 years ago.
Please tell me there's a dick.
No.
No dick pic?
Nope.
Oh.
Some 73,000 years ago, in what is now South Africa, an early human used red ochre crayon to draw a cross-hatched pattern onto a smooth flake, according to new research published today. It's now considered the earliest evidence of drawing in archaeological record. The drawing, which consists of 3 red lines intersecting with 6 other lines, is reminiscent of the pound symbol. What this cross-hatched pattern means to the artist is something we may never know.
Obviously.
But as the authors of New Nature of the New Nature paper point out, it was most definitely an intentional drawing, as it predates evidence of drawing at that by at least 30,000 years. Although the figure may be closer to 9,000 years, we'll cover that later. Humans, as this discovery makes clear, have been doodling for a very long time.
Yep.
Dubbed L13, the drawing was found in South Africa's Blombos Cave, a fruitful Middle Stone Age archaeological site that has produced some of the oldest evidence of human cultural activity. Many of the artifacts found in the cave, such as bone walls, spear points, shell beads, and engraved pieces of ochre, have dated back between 100,000 and 70,000 years ago. During the Middle Stone Age, early humans used ochre for all kinds of things other than drawing, including as an additive to glue and as sunscreen, according to researchers. But very little ochre was applied to the silicate flake, leading the authors to conclude that the lines couldn't have had any utilitarian objective and that it was a drawing. It's further worth pointing out that many humans have made engravings, but not drawings, date back even further. For example, a zigzag pattern etched into a shell in Trinil, Java, has been dated back to some 540,000 years ago, which this discovery predates Homo sapiens, so it's likely made by Homo erectus.
I'm Homo erect.
But the thing of why this is important is because it shows how far back people have been drawing and people have been making messages. That the human, mind and idea has thought to put its, thoughts down.
Yeah,
as a
that's why that's kind of like the whole.
It's unique.
That's kind of the whole thing with the regional dialects. It kind of is a thing that pulls back to that. Because we have regional dialects, even though people are close and all use the same languages. The regional dialects are our closer knit group of people's ability to speak with one another, which is basically the same thing here. They communicated with one another or with people that were like them that probably moved further off or did something by drawing, communicating.
But also, the fact of drawing just shows that people had the luxury. Art is a sign of a developed culture.
Languages.
No, language is absolutely,
art.
but art is definitely, because art comes from the luxury and the ability to have the time. You're not constantly searching for food. You're not constantly worried about food insecurity. You're first, it's like the rules of, the basic points of survival, and your first point is food and water.
I mean, sometimes at night you get bored to do things.
Yeah, sure, sometimes, but also considering...
It's the same thing as back then. It's the same, I mean, Indians do the same thing. Some of them, like, make shit, and the other ones
Bollywood.
go hunt. What? No, not Indians. Talking about, like, Native Americans,
well, you
people like
Native
that.
Americans, then.
Indians. Anyway, Bollywood's fun. We're not even alive. Since my coworkers are Indians, they showed me some of the funniest Bollywood shit. Showed me like this video. He was showing me like, oh dude, Bollywood's retarded. There's this video of this chick getting shot in the head like 5 times, and like she's still alive. And they're like in a car ride as taken to the hospital, and, like she's still talking and everything's fine. And this one dude was dead, buried, getting burned alive, and then like the weird Indian gangsters show up to kill his wife, and she like calls to him, and then he just comes out of his grave and starts beating everybody. It's just like, this is actually okay. I think you could watch this just for comical value. And then that really good one where the dude takes the flaming arrow and has the balls attached to the giant silk rug that's covered in oil. The one that we showed in our Discord before.
There was the one whenever the guy shot an arrow at his like wife or something, and he shot it through her like hoop earrings to guys behind her or something.
That's the same thing. That's all the same movie. That's like that's Bollywood. Whatever.
We should watch that movie.
That's a
comment
good.
over it.
No, my fucking coworker says that's a really good movie, and like the effects on it look really good. Like I watched the movie, like it looks really good.
Yeah, then we should do a watching buddy. We should watch and comment over.
I forgot what it's called. I need to
stream.
ask him again. He found
Because
it. It's on.
great.
It's on fucking YouTube in French though.
Oh.
It's subtitled in French for some reason.
That's unfortunate.
We can find it in English though somewhere. I have to ask him what it is.
I mean, an English subtitle will be fine enough.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have to ask him. No, he says it's in English. He says he has it or he's had it or something. I was like, dude, bring it. I want them.
Yes. We'll make a copy of it.
Oh God.
Just because.
Anyway.
And it's on to Stupid and Crazy, which is really where I'd love to have our ability to show photos.
Ahem. White students made to look black on U.S. site for French college. A French art college has apologized after a photograph of white students was digitally manipulated to make some look black in an attempt to broaden the college's appeal. Where's the picture at? Oh, I guess down here. Okay. Former students of the private Emile Cole Art School in Lyon flagged up on social media that a picture taken of a group to visit the gallery had been doctored on a promotional website for the college in the U.S. I'm gonna look.
Can you just like download them and then like show it on like a Windows Photo Viewer?
Could.
Because it's probably the only way we're going to be able to show this to people, and we have to show it to these people because these videos are just great. Yeah, these pictures are just great.
Do I have to show these people?
Yeah.
Do it.
So in the original, none of the students were black, which, as we'll show in a second, the original photo.
With this kid.
It was just a different it's two different photos, but you'll see.
No, yeah, I've already seen it. I'm just like, what?
It's just fantastic.
Like that dude.
So,
That's a complete Photoshop.
No. That's a complete Photoshop. Look at that one. Look back. That right there.
They all are.
No. She was edited in.
Look at it. Hold on. Watch.
Yeah.
Look at this dude. That is a complete. That's like the surprise, motherfucker.
Also over right there.
Dude.
No, right there.
Oh yeah, that chick. Yeah, with a completely different lighting.
So they made that one black, him black.
So they actually just colored her. It looks like.
Yeah, they darkened her.
Of
course, they added in her. No, they darkened that guy. That guy's a fucking white guy.
Yeah, they did. They darkened him. Who else did they do? There was somebody else there.
Well, okay, so they darkened him. They darkened her. They darkened him. They darkened.
That's somebody. Yeah, they darkened that person.
That guy.
Yeah, it's a guy.
And then they add in that person.
Actually, no, that dude is that. No, yeah, they darkened him. He's like Hispanic.
Yeah, they added in those two people, like full Photoshop.
Yeah,
and they added in that guy.
That's a Photoshop dude too, because he's looking down. Like this is just full shooped.
Yeah. So let's show the people at home what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Shut up, you.
you don't even have them open.
Listen here, you fucker. You little fuck nut. Fuck McGee. Fuck boy.
He's gonna show the.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were just gonna show the display.
Which one's the original?
1393.
Yep. Here's the OG original.
Yeah, so let's blow that up so people can see.
Enhance.
Enhance further.
That's about as enhancing I'm gonna do.
No, enhance further. I mean, it's
Shut
already
up,
covering us
No,
up.
don't care.
Enhance further!
I want to have my arms there. Alright, we're not enhancing further. Shut up.
Okay.
I've got a lost. Oh, there it is. Transform, stretch. There.
Okay. So let's point out. Can people see your mouse on the over OBS?
No. They cannot.
Okay.
Anyway, this is the original
So this is
image.
the original photo. As you can see, it's just
So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to point out what looks different here. Let's play the spot the differences game between number 1 and number 2. What is the differences here, people? There are some very obvious ones.
yeah. This college didn't.
Some very obvious photoshopping of like black people in, and then the obvious darkening of some of the other people that were completely white.
Yep.
Like the dude bro in the fro, 3 people from the right.
Yeah, he was fucking super darkened.
Yeah, he was darkened as fuck. He was white.
Yep.
He looks like a weird Mexican, like, I don't know what he is.
It's very weird. Yep, in the promotional material, among other manipulations, 3 students' faces had been darkened, and 3 people of color were added to the picture.
Yep. After people on social media criticized the use of the photo manipulation instead of giving college places to black students, well, I mean, they didn't go, they didn't go. It's kind of their thing.
Yeah.
The school apologized and said it has been unaware of manipulation, which is said was carried out by a communications agency in the U.S., which is probable.
Yeah.
Really shittily, I might add, though. Antoine Riviere, like, I'm not even a fucking photo person, but I could pick those out easy as fuck.
Yeah, no, those were terribly bad.
Even if I didn't see the first one, I think if I looked at that, actually no, I might have glanced over it because I wouldn't give a shit. I'd click it and then leave it and not care. If I personally saw it, came upon it. But if I looked at it hard and was like trying to think about going to this college, I'd be like, why is the lighting so different on these people in the middle of this fucking photo?
Mm-hmm.
What? Anyway, but I noticed I have a lot higher attention to detail than most, so that means whatever. The college director told L'Express he was only made aware of the altered photo when he was contacted by some 5th-year students who appeared in it. I thought you only had 4 years. Who the fuck's a 5th year?
Remember they're going for a master's?
I guess. We had sent a certain number of documents to an American communications agency in order to highlight our college, he said. One of the photographs had been doctored without the school's knowledge. The school had immediately ordered the page to be taken down, and apology letters were sent out to students and parents. This is the opposite of what Emile Cole represents, Rivera added. The school is planning to open a branch in the U.S. in the near future. Man, I fucking probably butchered the shit out of those French names.
Probably. I don't know, you need to call him Manuel.
Oh, God. He'll take his shit on my chest, man. I still haven't heard it's Geoffroy, his last name thing. One of these days I'm going to slip on just like, Manuel Joffrey. And he's going to be like, it's Geoffroy. Geoffroy. I didn't ask him how he says his name because I seriously have never asked him. Like, he said it really quickly. Hey, my man, Geoffroy. And I was like, your man or what? Jeffrey? Okay, cool.
Yep.
I was like, how do you spell his last name? Fuck.
So in the final story rounding out the evening,
Author of How to Murder Your Husband, arrested for allegedly killing her husband. Did we cover a story similar to this at some point?
Probably.
I feel like we did. Anyway, life is apparently imitated art for one romance writer. This isn't the first time. In a twist of irony so devious, it would have turned Agatha Christie green with envy. Oregon chef Daniel Brophy was found shot to death nearly 7 years after his wife of 27 years penned an essay titled How to Murder Your Husband. Nancy Crampton Brophy, the writer of the sensuous mysteries such as Hell on the Heart and The Wrong Husband, was arrested for murder on September 5th. It sounds like she was called for help and just very mad at her husband.
Well, I think she's just a writer.
Still, though, most people get their writing from something based in reality.
Not necessarily. I mean,
unless they're completely fiction. I don't know. Sci-fi is even still based in reality. A lot of sci-fi,
really.
a lot of sci-fi authors go to people and talk to people about like war,
some do.
guns,
Some
weapons,
do, not
things
all.
like. The people that write the good shit do. That author, where the fuck is he? That author over there was a Marine, and like he fucking paints the best picture of the Space Marines in the universe. It's actually really good.
We issued our space crowns, and nobody drew in the lines.
Oh, Space Crowns. That's actually not the Marines, but no. It's actually pretty accurate from what I know.
Is that,
they're dumb as toast.
Yeah.
Okay. They're dumb. It's basically, you need to read that book. Trooper needs to read that book because it goes over Plato's case system. Because it's like the people, the bunch of clones are made to be the fighting force, and then you have the humans that are the whatever. It's the class system from Plato's theory of whatever. And it even talks about it in the book. It's like, man, Plato would have loved this shit if he was ever alive to see this. Anyway. She was arrested for murder on September 5th, more than 3 months after the death of her spouse. Detectives believe Nancy L. Clampton Brophy is a suspect in Daniel C. Brophy's murder, said Portland police, who refused to discuss motive or evidence. Daniel Brophy, 66, goddamn, these are old people, who was found dead in the Oregon Culinary Institute in Portland. What? He was found dead in the fucking school? That's creepy. Had worked there as a chef for over 10 years. Oh, so it was like a fucking chef. Interesting. None of us believe it, said Holly Crampton. It's craziness, and it's just not true, she stated to ABC News. Crampton Brophy remains jailed for unlawful use of a weapon and murder.
Yep, so that rounds it out for the evening, and thank you, folks, for joining us for Talk Thursday episode 75.
There's no outro, I don't think.
That's fine. Please join us again next week as we continue covering.
Please join us for the black screen. This is an outro.
News in the world. You can check out this channel here on Tuesday for the Anime Talk Show.
Tuesday
at 7:30 p.m.
7:30
CST.
p.m. CST.
You can check out this channel here on Saturday for our now Mass Effect D&D.
I have no idea. I have no character. Time to make this work.
It's fun. And on Sundays we don't do anything on Sundays.
We don't do anything on Sundays anymore. Nope.
But anyways. Yes, check us out that time, and thank you for sticking with us.
Thank you all. Have a good night, and we'll catch you on the next stream.